Jonathan John. John, it's been a week, man. This week has been a week.
I mean, it's been 2 weeks since I've been on. But
well,
yeah, sure.
That's true. No, I think it's been kind of a rough week over here, but no amount of rough weeks that exist in this entire world will ever stop the Rage Select podcast here on Rage Select with me, Jeff.
I'm John.
Yeah. And it's been my legs are all scratched up. I was taking care of my friend's cat. Cats don't understand the difference between like flesh and clothes. So
Yeah.
I got like totally
Cats are
scratched up.
dicks. Yeah.
So anyway, we have a whole shitload of stuff to do this week. John, last week I was doing nothing but playing Fire Emblem. So when I wasn't doing Rage Select, I was basically just mainlining full-on Fire Emblem. Yes.
Fire Emblem. Okay.
Yeah. I just shove that switch directly into my veins.
Ballpark.
Yeah.
That was a ballpark.
Yeah. Well,
Same thing.
You get into the deep depravity of a JRPG binge, right? You know how it is.
Yeah.
Everything else I haven't showered in, forever, and yeah. So I have basically nothing to talk about in this intro segment because I did nothing last week except play Fire Emblem. Hey guys, Fire Emblem's pretty good if you're into Fire Emblem and you want to play Fire Emblem.
There you go.
What have you been up to? Anything interesting?
Been reading a shit ton of comics.
Anything stand out? Any big standouts?
I mean, Die is still pretty good, which is a comic about the newest issue just came out, which is a comic about people who, as kids in the 90s or 80s or whatever, went missing for 2 years because they got sucked into a D&D style RPG game world, and then when they came back, they couldn't they eventually came out, but like one person was missing an arm, and then like another person just never came back, and then they all kind of like grew up to be adults, and then something happened and they had to go back into it. So it's kind of like a goth Jumanji.
So kind of like Narnia meets that old D&D cartoon from the 80s.
Well, it's inspired by the old D&D cartoon from the 80s because the idea was it never ended.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, well, what happened afterwards? Like, I wonder what happened after that. And then he came up with this idea.
Okay.
And even like, it's called die, like plural of dice, die. Okay. Or a single die, I should say. Dice is the plural. Single dice is called a die.
Right.
But there's a collected volume, and then there's one issue after that, so that there's not a whole lot out. So if you're interested in it, go get it.
But it's still ongoing though. That's not all there is.
No, it's still ongoing. Like,
okay.
It's just that's what all it's come out right now. Like the second half is just now starting back up this week.
That sounds interesting.
And then also he released a beta rule set for an actual RPG based on the RPG that's in the game.
Okay.
And without spoiling the story, any game played using this RPG is officially in continuity with the comic.
Okay.
And you might be like, well, how?
Yeah.
But if you read the comic and then play the game, and if you have any interest in that, I suggest reading the comic first. Don't go looking for the rule set for the game.
I feel like you're just tempting the fates when you play the RPG based on the story about the people that got sucked into an RPG and now their lives are all messed up.
That's also really interesting because the RPG is meta because you first create people that are real worlds, like you come up with like people, like real world people.
You come up with a player
who are then going to actually play an RPG. So those people have to create a character, and
that's like role playception, man.
Yeah, no, totally it is.
My character is a super suave guy who gets all the ladies and is rich from YouTube. Because fantasy. It's a fantasy world, is what I'm saying.
Your character archetype would be called the Fool.
There you go.
There actually is a character that's kind of like that.
Okay.
But no. But yeah, that's a really good one. I'm trying to think of like what else I read that was really good. Because now that I've said it, it's all like blend.
It's all
blurring.
gone. It's gone.
Yeah,
it flew out of your brain.
Yeah, it's literally just all.
Oh, I rewatched Kill la Kill last week.
Oh.
I watched half of it before we played the game, and then I watched the other half of it. I definitely see why they decided to make the game different because the anime, I don't know, it gets in some weird places.
Yeah.
Go watch Kill la Kill.
Saw the movie Midsommar.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
That was good.
Yeah?
It was good. I liked it a lot.
Better or worse than Hereditary?
I liked it more than Hereditary, but it's also where Hereditary is like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like it is full-on horror.
Right.
This one is less of a horror movie, but it still is like a suspense and has horror elements in it.
Okay. So it's not a romantic comedy.
No.
It's not a musical.
No, it still would be classified as horror. It's just not as.
Because I was like cool on Hereditary. I mean, like I thought it was fine.
What's funny is I saw Hereditary 2 nights ago for the first time.
Oh, okay.
So I went and saw Midsommar first, and then I saw Hereditary.
Okay.
But yeah, I liked Midsommar more.
Like Hereditary was okay, but it just dragged for a little while, and I don't know. It was, I mean, it also it very much may have suffered from that thing where everybody's just like, "Oh my God, you've got to go see it," and then
and I think
go
that
watch
probably
it. Like,
also helped because I didn't go in with any of the hype for
Right.
Hereditary. Like the only hype I had was I really liked Midsommar,
right?
and I was like, "Oh well, now I should go back and watch that first movie that the guy did." And then I didn't know anything about it, so like stuff happened in the movie. I'm like, "Holy shit, I did not see that coming! Holy shit, what the fuck?"
Yeah,
kind of thing. And then like so that was a nice experience. But no, I actually think I liked Midsommar a little bit more.
Okay.
Also, it's more colorful, which is nice. It's a horror movie with color, which is rare.
I can dig it. Yeah, it's not all desaturated. They just like turn that shit down.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
But yeah,
that's
I'm
good.
trying to think what earlier today I bought Rocksmith 2014 remastered and started messing with that.
I'm not, I can't think of a less surprising sentence for you to say to me, John. Of every single person that I know, you saying to me, I bought Rocksmith 2014. I'm going to start playing the guitar, and be like, nah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Yeah, so there's that.
Okay.
I mean, I already had the guitar and the bass and the cable because I had the first Rocksmith on Xbox 360.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the newest version of Rocksmith. And
can you plug your Guitar Hero guitar into it?
No.
Can you learn how to play virtual guitar?
No. It has to be a real guitar.
Has anybody ever made like a Guitar Hero trainer? Like to teach you how to just like move your fingers around really quickly in Guitar Hero?
It's in Rock Band.
Yeah.
I mean, there's actually like a mode in Rock Band to practice how to play Rock Band.
I miss Rock Band. I
played that a lot earlier over the weekend too.
Yeah.
I got the itch, and which also is probably why I said fuck it and just bought Rocksmith as well.
Yeah. Well, you only own like every single song in all of Rock Band, right?
Yeah. It's just too bad I can't import all that into Rocksmith because it's a different company and and different game entirely.
Konami?
Rocksmith, if I'm not mistaken, is Ubisoft.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong though.
Okay.
I feel like it's Ubisoft or it's Activision. I don't think it's Activision. Activision is Guitar Hero, but I don't remember.
Okay. Well, I tell you what,
it is Ubisoft because I had to link my Ubisoft account to it.
Boo!
I do remember.
Boo! Good. Thank you for the transition. Speaking of boo, let's talk about the news. Right. So. Here we go again, John. Here we go again. I don't know how you could not know this, but last weekend there was a terrible 2 mass shootings.
Yeah, no, I knew about it.
Shitty shit. And I don't know why, or no, actually, no. I am surprised because, this is not something done a lot of this recently of apologizing for, like, generally speaking, I try not to do a lot of political stuff on
political stuff, yeah.
This is unavoidable, right? Trump came out, gave this speech talking about violence, talking about stuff, reading off the teleprompter like a zombie, and he mentioned the horrible violent video games that are making people violent and making the violent people violent. There's also a couple of yahoos on Fox. It's a couple of Fox hosts, I believe, as well, kind of agreeing with them, trotting back out this old chestnut of, we wouldn't have so many shootings if it wasn't for all these gosh darn violent video games that the kids are playing that make them into violent murder people. I don't know really how much we need to talk about this because I feel like unless you're like a Republican senator or like an old person or like somebody just trying to be an asshole, like, is it? I mean, this has been so thoroughly. We've been saying this for 20 years, and we've never had like a good connect. Like I think what the closest thing that we've had was at first when Columbine happened, right? The Columbine, they liked playing violent video games. People were like, that must be the reason. But I mean, I don't think we've ever seen any study that has a direct correlation between the two of these things.
Yeah.
And as far as I can tell, I don't know, because I can't keep up with this stuff from minute to minute. I got to take a break and play some Fire Emblem, right? But like, did they know? Were these guys, I mean, like, there were two different things. The one in El Paso seemed to have a pretty clear motivation. The one in Dayton seemed to be a little bit more ambiguous, but not so much so. But I mean, I don't think either one of these guys, neither one of them left a note that were just like, I'm going to be just like Call of Duty. Like Fortnite made me do it, right? I mean, I just don't know.
No, one guy just posted pictures on the internet of a bunch of guns spelling the name Trump.
Yeah. So I
wonder what his motivation was.
So I thought instead of running down this road, because do you disagree here? I don't think either one of us.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
We're both gamers.
Right.
We both agree that video games are not the cause or not the problem with whatever's going on.
Yes.
It's a stupid argument.
Yes.
It is also a deflection argument so that they don't have to do anything.
I agree.
To actually fix the problem.
I agree.
It is literally like, well, let's blame this other thing so that we don't actually have to do anything that means a damn thing.
Yeah. See, that is what I wanted to say, is that I am exhausted after all the years of this particular argument. So my message is this, and everybody just hear me out here before you finish. Donald Trump, Republican Party, senators that all listen to the Rage Select podcast. If you believe that M-rated games make children into serial killers, do us all a favor and bring up a bill to outlaw M-rated games in the United States, because I really want you to do it. Like, if that's what you think, then do it, right? Now, I don't think you will, because you know that it'll both... First off, the video game industry is gigantic, right?
Yeah.
Like and they have like money. Generally speaking, we don't fuck with, big corporations are kind of allowed to do whatever the hell they want to in this country. Second, I can think of no better way to convert a bunch of people to the party that is not you than by successfully managing to outlaw M-rated video games. Also,
I guarantee you the shootings won't stop.
Yep. Also, if you honestly believe that violent video games are making children into murderers, right? They're making them into murderers. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you do something about that, right? But I'm an adult. I'm an adult with a house and a dog and disposable income and a PlayStation and a PC. And if I want to play Murder Simulator 2019, that's my prerogative. Like, I don't see how you make the argument that if violent video games are doing this, that also violent movies. Yeah, but then all this shit just goes back years, right? It was
before that it was rap
music,
before that it was
heavy metal.
Before
D&D,
that it was
like all this different. It's the dissolution of the blah blah blah, and every time they say this crap, it doesn't end up being the thing. So, just blah. The only bright side, and I don't say this to... The only bright side is that I don't get the impression that they'll... I don't think they're going to do anything, right?
No, they're
nobody's going to do anything.
It's a giant deflection. They do it every time. It's just meant to get some people upset and then forget about why this whole thing, so that they don't have to tackle the actual issue.
Yes.
Which is how the guns got into these people's hands.
Yep. And this is not the podcast to do this, but I personally have had a lot of personal conversations with people that I know about that particular topic. If you believe that it is a mental illness thing, I believe there's a lot that you can try to do about certain types of mental illness, or stuff you could at least try. But
I think the what was it, the between the scenes with Trevor Noah thing where he talked about the whole guns issue thing is kind of apropos, where he's like, look, here's the problem is that, you know, people always bring up like, oh well, the mass shooting happened, you can't do anything about it. Well, what about, you know, cars cause all these deaths and no one outlaws cars, or no one outlaws, you know, 9/11 happened, we had to outlaw airplanes,
right?
And the argument is like, well, but we try.
Yeah.
We put laws in place that limit who can drive a car. You have to have a license.
Sure.
And on top of that, they do things to try to make people obey the traffic laws. They put speed bumps in roads, and they put signs out that say, hey, and they have cops that sit out, and if you don't obey those signs, they then pull you over and you get ticketed.
Yep.
And then if you get too many tickets, you get your license taken away and you're not allowed to drive a car. And then if you get caught driving a car without a license, you go to jail. And there are things in place where they try to mitigate those deaths.
Yep.
And they don't even try with guns.
Yep.
And no one's saying, hey, there are some people that are saying, hey, let's get rid of guns altogether.
Sure.
But I think a majority of people are just saying, let's do something to try to mitigate that.
I think,
but we're not.
Yeah. And I personally, I think that there are a lot of things that you could try that don't go as far as like outlaw all guns.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
There's a lot of stuff that you can try around the edges. There's stuff that you can attempt, and yeah.
And I feel like going, well, video games are to blame, or violent movies are to blame,
right,
or rap music is to blame, or whatever else you fucking think it is to blame. Saying that those are to blame is a bullshit excuse and is not trying.
But see, that's the thing that I'm saying. If you honestly believe that, then,
and they don't,
then go ahead and try. Then go ahead and outlaw all M-rated games. Make it illegal for me to own a copy of Mortal Kombat 11 because you're convinced that that's what makes people into school shooters. Now, if you do that, and I, as a 40-year-old private citizen who votes, who has disposable income, who wants to play Mortal Kombat 11, disagree with you, I am also free to vote you the fuck out of office for anybody who says the first thing I'm going to do when I'm in office is get rid of this dumb video game bill, you know. But the thing is that I get mad because if you honestly believe that that's the problem, then you should try to do something about it, because I'm really sick of the attitude of just, what are you going to do? My answer now is anything, something, try, you know, try. Even if it's, I tell you what, even if you think that violent video games are the thing, do that shit like they did in the 80s, you know, when they put up the winners don't use drugs before you can start playing bad dudes, right?
Yeah.
Like, put up a thing on an M-rated game that comes up before any of the developer logos, like an FBI warning that you gotta watch for 10 seconds that says, if you feel like you have, like, you want to take this into the real world, call this number and talk to a therapist, and we're going to get a call center full of people who are going to take calls, like a suicide hotline, right? And do that. Like, you could do, it doesn't have to be all the way draconian. If you honestly believe that, then you could do other things. And if you don't believe it, then maybe shut up. Like, maybe we should stop. Like,
well, because if they do shut up and don't blame video games or rap music or whatever else the scapegoat is, then they have to address what the actual problem is, and they don't want to do that.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Yep. Anyway, let's move on. We could probably do this for another hour.
Oh no, we could be on this conversation for a very long time. But yeah, let's move on.
So in spite of all, in addition to everything that we just said, the Entertainment Software Association also put out a statement.
DSA?
Where they said, as we shared at the White House video game meeting in March 2018, numerous scientific studies have established there is no causal connection between video games and violence. More than 165 million Americans enjoy video games, and billions of people play video games worldwide. Yet other societies where video games are played avidly do not contend with tragic levels of violence that occur in the United States. Video games positively contribute to a society, and they just keep going on and on. They do mention the thing that I keep bringing up, which is that there are parental tools. The ESA rates violent video games T or M, and there are tools on all the consoles to, like, lock those consoles so that your young children cannot play M-rated video games. Like, there are ways around this that do not... Yeah. Because you remember back in March of 2018 how they had that thing where they had the the White House put out that like montage of like violence from video games.
Surprisingly, no Mortal Kombat in that video.
This is bad, and then it was gone until this week. Like we haven't seen anything else until this week. So anyway, all right, let's move on to something cheerier. Nope, we're not done yet. Sorry, I forgot what I put on here. So, last but not least in this particularly horrifying story, apparently last week, Walmart distributed a bunch of things to their employees saying that they needed to take down like posters and advertisements and things for violent video games in their electronics department.
I don't. That's their prerogative. I don't see that as a. I mean, is it stupid? Yes, but it's not a. You know, they believe that the violent video games are anywhere connected to it, they pull down the ads. You know, I don't see anything wrong with that.
I don't know. It's just kind of the other thing comes down to the question of, and this is something again I've talked about so many of these things in the past, but we've talked about so many of these things in the past. Is what exactly does that mean? Like, does Mortal Kombat count? Like, it's violent. It doesn't have any guns in it, or I mean, Aaron Black has a gun, but it's not.
So does Cassie Cage.
It's not. Yeah, but it's not a shooter, right? Like, it's not a first-person shooter. Is Mortal Kombat making children violent?
Yeah, probably.
Fortnite has guns in it, but it doesn't really have like.
There's no blood.
You know, is that making people violent?
No, that's just draining their parents' bank accounts.
Okay. Mario jumps on top of mushrooms. Is that a violent video game?
No, that's just leading to drug abuse.
Okay. All right. I'm glad that you need to go to Congress, John. You got all the answers. And just be like, John Sinton, so to tell us which video games are violent and which games are not. Like, I was thinking about Fire Emblem the other day, how I've spent like half the game developing relationships and tutoring a bunch of children who I've come to care for greatly, and the other half I've spent violently massacring people on a medieval battlefield. So, like, is that a violent video game that needs to be banned? John Sinton? Will you say John Sinton?
50-50.
50-50. All right. Put him down for 50-50. Metal Wolf Chaos is a violent video game.
No, that's just pure art.
But you play as the president of the United States of America.
That is patriotic art, sir. But you shut your whore mouth.
You shoot a bunch of U.S. soldiers. Is that to be?
No, those are traitors. They are traitors. They are terrorists.
They know what they did.
They know what they did. They turned on the great United States of America.
With the president's mech. Yeah.
And sided with fucking Vice President Richards.
Yeah.
That game is pure art.
Yeah. So, like, what? Man, I played Corpse Killer this week. Like a 1994 CD-ROM game with, like, the worst green screen zombies literally flying at the screen. You gotta shoot all of them. Is that a violent video game? Like, nobody could ever take this seriously. That's another one. Anyway. Boo, Walmart, boo. I'm glad I don't go to you, Walmart, boo. Anyway, let's move on from completely horrifying and ridiculous to only mildly horrifying and ridiculous. Last week, the Entertainment Software Association may be defending your right to play video games, but they're not defending journalists' rights not to have their personal information on the internet. So there is a data breach. Okay, it's weird because I've seen some headlines saying ESA doxes game journalists, and I always think of doxing as like a malicious act, right? Yeah. This just seems like stupid. Like this is a like Equifax breach or, some bullshit. So anyway, you may not know this, gentle listener, but when you decide to go to E3, you have to send E3 a bunch of your personal information.
Yeah.
One of the things that happens with that personal information is you get put on a mailing list so that companies that are exhibiting at E3 can then send you emails.
Unless they deny your submission.
That's correct.
Because that's what happened to me, those sons of bitches.
Because I've got purged from a lot of lists, but I still get like Team 17 still sends me a lot of emails, and I know I never ask them for anything. So apparently these lists were in a place on their website that you could just kind of get to, and somebody grabbed them. So basically everybody that registered for E3, kind of their personal information is
2018 and 2019.
Yeah, it's 2018, 2019, and then there was a second breach as part of like I think it was like an Internet Archive page or something that didn't get taken down or was accessible. So also 2004 and 2006. So not Jeff. Jeff only went one time. No, I went twice actually. I went in 2000 and what year is it? 2013, 2012. So I'm safe. I mean, not that I figure anybody with a mind couldn't find all my information anyway, but yeah, this ain't great.
No.
On the other hand, I started to wonder, like, how hard would it be if you were really trying to get like the information about these people? How hard would it be for you to set up like a fake game company, right? That was like mock up some screenshots, like do a press release, register a URL, try to get ESA registration, and then you should be able to like to get access to this list legitimately, right?
Yeah.
Because it's for promoting games.
I mean,
I wonder
for the game. I mean, there's a lot that you have to actually provide to them, to be able to do that. Because I mean, like I said, I submitted paperwork to go to E3 when I worked for Blizzard, and I got denied because I wasn't a
journalist.
No, I got denied because I wasn't an actual person who made the game. I wasn't a person in their marketing department or in any department that talk to journalists.
Okay.
So they would not have me, but I do know that for game companies to submit their information to their, you have to provide a lot of very specific information that, that it's not like with journalists, because I also have submitted as a journalist and got denied for that as well.
Sure.
But it's not like with journalists where all you have to do is you have to provide like a business card and link to articles that you've written and shown that you are actually a journalist and not just some random YouTuber who occasionally does videos. And
hey,
not you. I'm not talking about you. But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like it's a different thing where it's very easy for a jerk to get in. It's easier to get in as a journalist, and that's why they started cracking down at one point, because it was too easy to get in as a journalist.
Yeah, it used to be if you were a GameStop employee, you could probably get an E3 badge.
Yeah, which really pissed me off because I was like, motherfucker, I'm more of game industry than you are. But yeah, back when I was working at Blizzard, but yeah, no, it like you could literally back in the day, you could create a literally a fake website and like backdate articles about like write a bunch of shit reviews.
Yeah.
Like I think what was it? Tim Rogers on Kotaku talked about his first E3, how he got a press badge is he created a website, created a bunch of old reviews of older games leading up to the date. However, the reviews were gibberish.
Oh.
Outside of like the title of the game and then the score and whatever, and then the actual like it would like the first paragraph was real and then the rest of it was just garbage.
Okay.
It made no sense, and then like submitted it and they were like, yeah, no, that checks out, here's your badge.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what more we can say about this because I mean it's just like ESA, okay, you know what? I do have something to say. The ESA kind of stinks, John. Like, they kind of suck, right? Like, they're not the best organization in the world. I mean, I know I just got done,
praising them. And then now you're shitting on them.
And now I'm shitting on them. Yes, that's true. That's the Rage Select way. It's, it's good job. Fuck you. The Rage Select way. But I mean, like, they've been very limp about the loot box stuff, and I mean they're a trade group for industry concerns, right? Like they're not maybe the way to put this isn't necessarily that they're bad, but they're just not good. They're just a corporate entity, right? Like they don't have your best interest at heart. It's not like the ESA sits around going like, how can we help gamers today?
Yeah.
They're there to represent a big faction of the video game industry. So this sucks. But I mean, we, as mentioned before, I don't know. I was talking with some folks on the Discord about this, and it's kind of like, does anybody out there think? I mean, this is a good question for the Rage Like podcast audience. Do any of you think that your personal information isn't out on the internet? I assume mine is freely available on the dark web if you wanted to buy it, right? All my passwords, my address, my social security number, etc. Because I mean, how many leaks have there been over the years? PlayStation, Equifax, and Amazon's gotten hit a couple of times.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's been so many data breaches of places that are not small, not insignificant, that I just assume that my shit's already out there. Of course, I guess I put a little bit more of my life online than
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't. I don't know. In any case, I don't know. Is it a big deal to you, John? Like, if you were if you were a part of this breach, would you have been like worried? I mean, probably change your password, right?
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I would be worried in the fact that I would probably make some small minor changes, like like the important stuff,
right?
Of information. I am of the camp of out of mind, out of sight.
Yeah.
Or like if I'm just oblivious to it,
right.
Then I can live in obliviousness.
Well, this podcast must suck. Every week I'm like, let me tell you 5 things that are bad, John.
So when it comes to that, like, if I actually thought about it, is my information probably out there? Probably.
Right.
Do I think I'm important enough for anyone to actually care? Not really.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sure, I'm sure it could be. If someone really tried hard enough, and I don't really want anyone to try hard enough, I would rather stay in my minor
in the bubble
and like just don't think about it. And then if something happens that bursts that bubble and says, "Hey, it happened," then I'll take care of it. And I'm not going to be shocked by it.
Right.
I think that's the big thing. Like, if it happened, I wouldn't be shocked by it, but at the same time, I don't want it to happen, and I do know what steps to take to if it does happen.
Right.
So.
It's also interesting because these are obviously most of the people here are like game journalists are more public figures. Like this isn't like necessarily the same as like that Equifax breach, right? Because these people probably put their first and last name and their face on the byline of what they're doing.
Yeah.
They have an outward facing presence. That's not to say like it's their fault or anything, but I think that they're already somewhat more exposed with their personal information.
Still, though, it's shitty that it happened.
Shouldn't happen. Boo. Boo. Boo, ESA. Boo. Speaking of boo, last
More
week...
boo?
Oh, we got a lot of boo. We got a lot of boo left to go. So, last week, on Wednesday, apparently Twitch told everybody to stay home from their offices because they got some chatter that there might be like an attack or shooting or something at their offices. So everybody stayed home. Police came out. Nothing really came of it, but like, that sucks. It's boo.
It's the world we're in.
Boo. Someone just changes to the Rage Select Boo podcast. All right. From there, let's go to some more boo. John, are you ready?
What about boo-earns? Is there any boo-earns?
There's no boo-earns in here. Actually, eventually, once we get through all this, once we get through all the vegetables of bad news, I do have some chocolate pudding of stuff that happened at Evo. So you guys just gotta keep shoveling in that broccoli in there. Put more cheese sauce on it.
How are you gonna eat your pudding if you don't eat your meat?
That's right. Okay, Take-Two, Borderlands 3. And a YouTuber. So last week, so how do we start here? There's this YouTuber that goes by the name of Supmato, that is like primarily a Borderlands guy, does Borderlands stuff. He has we'll coming back to this later, but he basically runs a channel that's all about Borderlands. He has done videos talking about things that are some are just speculation videos. We'll get into the rest of it later. Anyway, needless to say, he was probably putting stuff out there that that 2K did not want out there.
Yeah, he definitely posted some things that were like, I have sources that tell me blank and blank and this and that, and they ended up being correct.
Yeah. Also, okay, well, we'll just
more
go through
correct than anybody else.
There's also a whole thing where apparently in one of the Borderlands 3 trailers, they were talking about Twitch like integration and some Twitch stuff that they're working on, and there was a Twitch username that was not like grayed out that this guy put into Twitch and found out it was an actual active channel. It's like just a garbage string of characters, but that it was being used by the Borderlands 3 team. They were like live Twitch accounts that were being used to basically check the functionality of this Twitch integration stuff that they've got going on. And while the streams were all private, you couldn't watch any of them. This guy, Supmato, apparently found out that if you like refreshed the page, it would show you like a screenshot of what was happening on that stream, that then he would take that screenshot and look at it and be like, well, you can tell like this from this and this from this and this from this. Anyway, he was putting out information that 2K would rather not get put out, but it's not entirely. I mean, some of that. If he did have somebody that was in 2K telling him information, I mean, that person inside of 2K probably signed an NDA, but like he never signed an NDA with 2K. In any case, last week apparently got a knock on the door. A couple private security guys came to interview him at his house about like what the fuck is going on with all these things that he's saying on the internet. I talked to them for a little while. They left. Within 20 minutes after that, his Discord had been completely shut down. What was the... I got to look through here. So when his Discord was shut down, there was a generic kind of... Discord. The response from Discord says that his account was involved in selling, promoting, or distributing cheats, hacks, or cracked accounts, which he didn't really seem to be. Also, 2K slammed his channel with a bunch of copyright strikes,
and he got all but one of them removed.
Yes. So it appears, from my perspective, this guy was leaking information about Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
And 2K's response, while maybe not like... 2K's response seemed pretty heavy-handed, right?
It did.
Like, maybe YouTube strikes, right? That's, I feel like, normally what would happen, right?
Yeah.
If you're distributing information, blah, 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 sending people to his house seems like a little much. Like, and these, apparently the guy looked up the guys on LinkedIn later on and found out that they were part of a private security company from his area that apparently 2K had contracted to like go out to his house and like talk to him in person.
Yeah, apparently when he talked to them, he didn't know it. They were
right. They were, yeah. And the whole Discord thing, I think his Discord access is back, but that it was kind of, that doesn't seem like, the list of things doesn't seem like things that he was actually doing.
Yeah, I mean, he was off the internet. Like, he had not posted any videos for like 2 months since this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only just now come back, and he posted that video, and he's basically like, look, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a break from posting anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he even said, he goes, there's probably some things that I realized looking back that I probably shouldn't have posted.
Yeah.
Or shouldn't have said in my videos that I did. But this has kind of soured me a little bit on not just Borderlands as a franchise or even Take-Two as a company, but also the video stuff that he does on YouTube as well.
Right.
And he's like, I'm going to take a couple months off and
like figure it out
and
maybe come back
and focus on something else. Maybe he'll decide that he still wants to play Borderlands. Maybe he won't. He doesn't know. He just needs time to figure it out.
Yeah, which there is there's a hashtag trending now, just like straight boycott Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
Again, I'm gonna say 2K's response seems overzealous. I mean, like what I said to you.
It seems like the type of response Randy Pitchford would have.
Right. I mean, what I said to you before we started was like, it's just Borderlands, you guys. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, if he had found internal 2K video of the Grand Theft Auto 6.
Maybe he's the guy that found Randy Pitchford's USB key.
Oh, there you go. Conspiracy.
Maybe that's what's going on. He's the one that found the USB key.
Randy Pitchford's just in a dark office like, get that son of a bitch.
I need my porn back.
Get my USB key. I gotta see what the magic of this girl's vagina. It's the most fucked up story in video games. Medieval times. In any case, I think this is a bad move on 2K's part. I think it makes them look really bad.
So, I mean, I've heard some things from people from 2K saying that he is not being 100% truthful with everything he's saying.
Yes.
That he is wording his side of the story to make himself look like the victim. But also, I don't know how much I believe that either, because when asked for more information, 2K has... Because 2K has been like, he did things that were flat out illegal,
right? And
we could prosecute him by law, but we are choosing to go this route instead,
right?
And the whole reason that they hired investigators is because of the fact that they could have gone by prosecuting him through the law, but then they decided to not do that.
Yeah.
And then when asked like what was specifically illegal, they dodged the question.
Yeah.
And won't be more specific.
Yep.
Which could also be like an agreement that was reached between him, because again, we don't know everything that happened.
Yeah.
But it also could be a thing that he can say certain things, but he can't say other things, and they can say certain things, but they can't, like, per whatever I don't know, but it seems like both sides may not be 100%, but from taking this, if we want to take this at face value, at what's being presented in the articles that I've been reading about this, it sounds like Take-Two is just fucking doing stupid shit, and this guy's...
Is it Take-Two or 2K? I thought
2K.
it was 2K. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, I want to make sure I wasn't spacing.
No, I said Take-Two. I mean 2K.
Yeah, it's possible that he might have done some actual stuff. It's just that it's hard for me to put a lot of faith in 2K again for being like, the champion of everybody everywhere. And we love video games, and that's why we put microtransactions and everything. And no, I 2K is a big old corporation. Strauss Zelnick is not my favorite person in the world, so I tend to lean more towards the side of the poor YouTuber. There are a lot of reasons, right? Why I would normally do that.
No, I mean, and so I'm more inclined to believe, like, even if he's not telling 100% of the story and he's framing it in a he's the victim sort of way, more so than he should be, I still side with him.
Yeah, me too. All right. Speaking of siding with a person versus the internet, Ooblets.
Fucking
Ooblets.
Damn, you fucking epic game hating assholes. Fuck all of you.
So, last week, Michael and I talked about this. Ooblets decided to become an Epic Game Store exclusive.
Well, they kind of had to. Because originally Ooblets was supposed to be published by Double Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Double Fine got purchased by Microsoft.
Yeah.
Therefore, Double Fine could not publish that game anymore.
Okay.
Because they were being the publisher for that company.
Mm-hmm.
So they released them from their contract, and they had to find a new publisher.
Yeah.
Epic basically said, "We will give you money.
Yeah.
That will then help grow your company."
Yes.
And so they went, well, we were worried about a publisher otherwise, so I guess we'll go with Epic.
So this whole thing is just so messy because the thing that we covered last week was their announcement that they were going to the Epic Game Store. I don't know if you read this.
I read parts of it.
It was kind of condescending. Like, it was, look, I understand that 100%. And as I said last week, and I will continue to say, one, I do not think the Epic Game Store is perfect. But two, I think there does need to be a competitor to Steam to make Steam a better store, because Steam has shown that when you leave them alone, they're willing to just sit in their own filthy diaper and never do anything unless they absolutely positively have to. So last week, for anybody who didn't listen to last week's podcast, last week the Ooblets developer, they put out this thing, the news, not a news story, but like a blog post saying that they were moving the Epic Game Store. The first part of it was fine. It was what you would normally expect, right? We're going to Epic Game Store, blah, 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 right? The second part got a little bit more, okay, this is a husband and wife team. These are two people, right?
Yeah,
they do not have a PR department. They are not a big team. They're two people making a video game, Pokemon,
Animal Crossing,
Pokemon
hybrid.
Plants thing, right? The second part was the part that got people riled up, because a lot of it was about how, like, one of the things they said was like, oh, well, isn't Epic Game Store, it's bad because it doesn't have a shopping cart? And their response was like, yeah, but it took Steam like 12 years to get their shit together, so maybe just cut these guys a little bit of slack. And it's like, well, shopping cart isn't exactly like, shopping cart's a legitimate grievance, right?
Yeah.
Like, then the part that really I feel like got up on people's junk was at the end of it, where they're like, if you get mad about this, maybe you should really put this in perspective and realize that, like, there are more things to worry about, like climate change, and they had a whole list of stuff, and most of them were jokey. This was intended to be cheeky, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, this guy and his wife have had a very direct relationship with their audience. They have a Patreon, they have a Discord server, all this stuff. They're making this little indie game, right? Okay, so as you alluded to, and as everybody knew, this was not met with positive vibes from the gamer community. Now, I think that what we're looking at here, John, is a team of two people. Especially a husband and wife team, right? Not even just like you and me are going to make a video game, right? But like two people that probably live together, that are making this game, that have had a very close connection with them. They saw this move that was going to be financially, like, going to allow them to finish their game. And Epic even said that they would, like, cover up to a certain number of sales. Like
Yeah.
if they fell short of the sales numbers that Epic was projecting, that Epic would just buy copies or just give them a check, right? So like from the perspective of a developer, like this is a great deal, right? Like we don't have a publisher anymore. Here's a big publisher. They don't put out 100 million games, so our game's probably going to get a lot more front center attention. And they've even gone the extra mile of telling us that they will literally make up the cash that we're guaranteed a certain payout for putting the game out. Okay. But the internet does not like the Epic Games Store.
Because people are fucking idiots.
I mean, here's the thing. I do sympathize with some of the things, right? I'm not all the way into the, like, Epic is selling your personal information to Tencent and they're giving it to the Chinese government, right? But, like, shopping cart is a legitimate grievance. Their store page is not super great. Like, they do not accept currency from some countries, so you literally can't buy the games in the currency from your country. They don't have the social stuff, which I feel like in 2019, like if you were looking at this, and for my money, I think that Epic has enough money that this shit should have been implemented by now, right? That this should be a all hands on deck. We're putting a prototype cart in the store tomorrow, right? Or by the weekend, like that. It shouldn't have dragged on as long as we are. On the other hand, so to continue the story, they put this out. Internet does not like Epic. Internet goes at them, right? And this is where it gets really tricky, because I don't think, John, that you or me or anybody that's listening to this podcast can understand what it must be like for this to happen to you, where like every social media account you have is filled with people telling you that you're shitty. Or even not that you're shitty, but just demanding explanations from you, like constantly, like for days. Some of the responses that I'm really trying hard not to get into like victim blaming here, but like this guy's responses to a lot of people was, you don't deserve video games. This is a toxic attitude. You need to like back off, which is not something that the internet takes to very well. On the other hand, the internet has been some parts of the internet have been excessively shitty to this person. The point where I can only imagine what it's like to even have, say, a dozen people who have decided to make it their personal ambition to get up your ass and tell you that you deserve to die, or to call you by slurs and just follow you around social media and do this stuff. So this has become a thing. I feel like if they just had put out a press release saying we're going to Epic Games Store, they would have gotten the normal hate. They could have gone on. I don't know. I'm hard pressed on this one, because I do think that people get stupid about the Epic Games Store.
I mean, if you're saying like, oh well, they would have got the normal hate. Well, the normal hate has been to review bomb any previous game by that company, and talk shit about them and harass the people involved, and to the point of of craziness over this whole thing, which is exactly what happened in this situation, regardless of what he said in that article.
Right.
I don't feel that I feel like what they're getting has been the norm. The difference here is that previously it's been with companies that have released multiple games, and you're talking to a company with large amounts of team, and maybe have like a figurehead or someone that they can harass as a
social media manager, somebody whose job it is to deal with this shit.
Here it's a wife and a husband. Yeah, they're the only two people working on it, and this is kind of their first game.
Yep.
There is no previous game to go onto Steam and review bomb. This is it.
Yep.
The difference is that one, they were doing it to a corporation. Now they're doing it directly to two people who are the people involved with the game.
Yep.
I feel like this is the norm.
Okay.
And this is fucking needs to stop, because holy shit, am I getting tired of these fucking stories. And no, it's not that, well, Epic needs to stop making these companies exclusive. No, fuck you. Stop it.
Yeah. I
get over your goddamn self. I fully side with what the guy said on this. I'm sorry if I'm being a little harsh or being a little angry about it, but it is just a fucking video game. Oh no, I have to install another app.
The thing that the only thing that the only thing that draws me up a little bit on this, right, is that if the game was going to come out on Steam and like it's not them, okay? This is okay. Let me start over. Yes, 100%. But and not them, but that like I saw some interactions, and I know that there have been some faked interactions. There've definitely been somebody made the fucking fake Discord screenshots, but there have been some real Discord things and back and forth, which have been like, hey, I want to play your game. Hey, I live in a country where the Epic Game Store will not accept my money, right? I cannot play your game. I cannot buy your game on the Epic Game Store. That it is like, this is not me saying I don't want to install another platform. This is me saying the Epic Game Store does not work in my country because of the way that their currency like acceptance is set up. So I am unable to play your game. Not go fuck yourself, but just like, this is a concern that I have, and the response being prickly, which I can understand if somebody has been subjected to what this guy and his wife has been subjected to. I mostly kind of put it more on Epic of like, I feel like the major things that people have been talking about with the not the stuff I was saying before, but you know, the shopping cart, the currency stuff, right? These are things that should be worked out as soon as humanly possible.
And I agree with you on that.
As soon as humanly possible. And the fact that if somebody was a patron, right? If somebody was giving to their Patreon and suddenly they live in a country where they can't buy this game anymore, even after contributing to its development, that's a bit of a kick in the teeth, right? Now, the rest of it, the people that just fucking hate it, I'm with you on that. I think that you should calm the hell down, right?
Because I honestly, the most vocal people, and again, and I'm not talking about the people who actually are coming with arguments about what you're saying, because that's actually a legitimate conversation. That's
sure.
To say, hey, I want to buy your game. I've been supporting you. I now can't play your game because it's coming out on a platform that I don't have access to, or that I legitimately can't get access to,
right? For
reasons that are out of my control.
Yeah,
that is a viable thing. And if they responded back with sarcasm or like, well, fuck you, I don't know what their response back to that person was, but if that was their response to them, then yeah, that's a shitty thing to do. Yeah, it was probably not the right answer, and if they look back on it, they probably realize it's probably not the right answer, and hopefully they've come back and said, you know what, we apologize for that, and here's let us look into it and see what we can do, or see what can be done. Let us try to figure it out.
Sure.
Please bear with us. But 90% of the people that are harassing these people, 90% of the people who are doing it on Twitter and Facebook and whatever other social media, they weren't going to fucking buy the game.
Yeah.
None of them were gonna. None of them have supported these people on Patreon. They're just doing it because they're pissed off something else was exclusive to Epic Game Store, and they want to bitch about the Epic Game Store.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Also, I do want to go back to what I was saying at the very beginning, that like in that situation that I was just laying out about somebody who's a patron, somebody who has a legitimate thing, like I think that there's been a lot of flack that I've seen from people that were just like, well, I wasn't being aggressive or coming at you, you know, or swearing, or I was trying to just like have a conversation with you, and you were very curt and kind of came back at me with attitude. And again, I can't say what it's like to do something that you think is going to be a way to secure the future of your project, and then to have your entire internet presence melt down with just insanity, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's like 25 people who are just willing to harass you all the time, which is probably a very low number.
Yeah.
That could still be incredibly difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
And especially if you're just an indie developer, right?
Yeah.
As we said, you don't have a PR person. You don't have somebody whose job it is to basically look after it. You're just like, hey man, we're just making a game here, like you and me talk about, hey, I got a Patreon. You want to go to my Patreon, right? So I can only imagine what it's like, and in a lot of ways, I think that I make some allowances for the fact that this person is probably not thinking calmly and coolly and rationally when they're on the other end of the internet shit stick. And I do agree with you that the Epic Game Store, you know, let's go back to the gun stuff at the beginning. Do you not like the Epic Game Store, listener? Do you think the Epic Game Store is garbage? Don't buy anything that comes out on it. I know that you're probably going to end up missing out on a bunch of games that you want to play, right? But the way that you combat the Epic Game Store is to make the Epic Game Store a failure. I guarantee you that if you harass these Ooblets people enough, they might just fucking like
close up shop
and go be farmers, right?
And go do something else that has nothing to do with video games because fuck the game industry.
Right, or stop talking to people or just like do whatever, right? You will do that. You probably will not be able to abuse the Ooblets developers to the point where they break the contract they signed with Epic and decide to go. Has anybody done that? Has there been a game that's gone to Epic that's then gotten out of that arrangement? I don't believe so.
I don't think any of the ones that have done it want to and care to.
No, I don't think so either.
It's so I mean, harassing them about it, all it's doing is it's going to make the game go away completely.
I mean, that's your best case scenario, right? Is that you manage to get them to a point where they quit because they don't want to. This is too much, and I just can't do this anymore, type of thing, right? I mean, that's what the ultimate solution is. And if that's what your solution is, that's weird because it seems like if you're really that mad at them, you could just not buy the game, right? And then people who do, like, I still want to play it, right? I don't mind.
Yeah.
I would like to play it.
I've been wanting to play it since I saw the first trailer for it. Like, I'm really hoping it comes to console. I think it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But I think it's like a much delayed. Like, it's like first just PC and then eventually it'll come to console.
Yeah.
And I want to play it on a console and I look forward to it. I think it looks adorable and cute and fun, and it also looks like the game that Amanda would love as well. Mm-hmm. So,
Yep. All right. What else? I don't know if we could do much more bad news here, John.
Well, too bad.
Let's see. Let's talk loot boxes for just a second.
There was be a week without talking about some loot boxes.
That's right. There was an FTC panel that happened this week about loot boxes. One of the things that actually came out of that was the Entertainment Software Association said that Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony by 2020 are going to be implementing a thing that basically you have to show people like the odds of getting what type of loot out of a loot box, right? So that
you have to disclose that information.
You have to disclose the odds so that people can at least make an informed decision about whether that will happen. Is it something? Yes. And I find it really interesting that it's happening from those three, right? Yeah. Because I feel like so many of the stories that we have about loot boxes are like, well, Bethesda's put loot boxes into this, and like EA says they're going to fight Belgium about loot boxes in court, right? But this is just like the publisher, like the big three console publishers are just like, no, we're going to do it. Like, so, hey, good news, right? Hey, look at that. We got out of the ditch. We're heading back. We're heading up. Okay, wait, here.
We're getting out of the ditch.
Let me get you further out of the ditch, John. Rocket League implemented loot boxes a while back, and they are not removing them entirely from the game, but they are making it so that when you go to buy a loot box, you get to see exactly what's in it before you hit go.
Oh, cool.
Which seems to me like a weird stopgap measure between why don't you just have a shop where I can use virtual points to buy skins, and then, okay, whatever. Yeah. I mean, they rotate or whatever. But yeah, there you go. Rocket League walking it back on loot boxes a little bit. So, cool. All right, we are way over time. Let's roll through Evo real fast. A bunch of announcements at the end of Evo. The first big one was, I actually just have these in the order that I wanted to talk about them. There's going to be a new Guilty Gear.
Yeah.
They put a trailer out. They put a teaser out for it.
Oh, the animation looks so good.
Arc System Works is great at this stuff, and it does look absolutely amazing. It does make me wonder, though, why they do this thing in Guilty Gear where they kind of modulate the frame rate a little bit to make it look like animation, and they didn't do that in Kill la Kill, so it's like a solid 60 frames per second. But Guilty Gear is awesome. It's always crazy amazing.
Oh, I love Guilty Gear.
So we're going to be getting another one of those, and that's cool. From there, we also got some Soul Calibur news.
Nice.
Cassandra is going to be coming as a DLC character to Soul Calibur.
Oh, cool.
And also Hahumaru from Samurai Showdown.
Oh, okay.
The main character-ish kind of guy. Is also going to be coming to
Nice.
Soul Calibur 6, as well as they're doing some tweaks to the systems and changes and kind of just upgrades and making everything just a little bit better. So
Okay.
John's favorite fighters getting some content. Do you think you'll buy that season pass, John?
I honestly haven't played Soul Calibur 6 in a long while.
Okay, fair enough. And this isn't enough to just like drag you on back.
Probably not.
We got a trailer for DLC characters coming for Samurai Showdown.
Nice.
August, September, October, November, December. We are getting Rimururu, Shizumaru. I'm sorry, I'm butchering all of these. Basara, Kazuki Kazama, and then Wanfu in December. And then the next Season 2 DLC is going to start with Suriel Vasquez, who was a fan-voted character. So we're getting a big chunk. If you're into Samurai Showdown, I think Samurai Showdown did pretty well at Evo this year.
It did really good.
And then also SNK did a very brief announcement that they are working on King of Fighters 15.
Nice.
It will be coming out in 2020. So King of Fighters 15, 2020.
I like me some King of Fighters.
Yeah, me too. I like it a lot more than I thought I would. Tekken is getting a couple of brand new characters. Zafina, who was a character from the previous Tekken.
They're also apparently adding some new moves for other characters.
Yeah.
Some skin stuff and some new moves and yeah.
The
new characters look dope.
Yeah. Zafina apparently is a returning character from one of the previous Tekkens. And then also, who's this other guy? What's his name? Leroy, yeah. Leroy are coming in. So this is like the fourth season pass for Tekken of characters, because last time was Negan from
last time it was Negan. Yeah.
So I haven't played Tekken 7 since I think I bought it, which just goes to show. Let's see, and then we also had Blaze Blue.
Yeah.
Cross Tag Battle is adding 3 characters. These are interesting ones, though. I don't know if you saw this.
I did not.
One of them is from Senran Kagura.
Okay.
Yumi from Senran Kagura Estival Versus is the first one. The second one is a guy from this anime. I think it's an anime called Atsuki, and then also a tank from that same anime. So one of the DLC characters is a tank.
Okay.
Real weird looking tank from Akatsuki Blitzkampf is what they're from. I don't know what that is. And then the last one is one of the girls from Ruby.
Okay.
Is going to be in there too.
Which I'm sure a lot of Ruby fans are happy about.
Yes. So yeah. And that was most of it. Street Fighter V, we got the DLC last week of E Honda and the Poison and the cop lady from Final Fight.
And there were also some leaks about that right before it came out.
Yeah, I think Steam published it earlier or something, because they had like we're sorry, a story this week. But at the end of Evo, there was a tweet where they said that they're probably going to have some more announcements in November and December for Street Fighter V.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for Street Fighter V stuff, no Mortal Kombat. But, whatever.
Well, I mean, Nightwolf's about to come out.
Well, I guess that's true. Yeah. Nightwolf was kind of at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, John, talk to me about this WWE 2K20 trailer. Let's get through these trailers pretty quick.
Yeah, so they had two videos they released. One was a live action trailer, which they do for every video, which I thought this one was actually kind of great. It's literally all the wrestlers in kind of like a boys club. Yeah. And then Becky Lynch breaks through the glass ceiling. Yeah. And then basically kind of it's a nice little moment, because when you think about it, it's literally she's breaking through the glass ceiling of the boys club. Right. Because Becky Lynch, her moniker is the Man, is a badass. Okay. And her and Roman Reigns are the joint cover superstars for the new game. Okay. But they announced a bunch of new features for the game, or not new features, but they announced a bunch of stuff for the actual game itself. The My Player career mode you will create a male and female character. Okay. And play through a story mode with both of them.
Like is it like one story mode with them as like a team?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like you'll create both a female, or at least that's the way it was implied. The way I understood it is you create, because like they showed like clips of like some of it, and it was like a created character and like two created characters walking side by side, and one was a male and one was a female.
Okay.
And then they talked about how the towers are returning, which is essentially the Mortal Kombat towers. They put them in WWE 2K19.
Okay.
And those are coming back. And then the DLC is different this year in that previously they're like, oh, and then they usually have like DLC packs where they add more wrestlers in.
Yeah.
This year it seems like they're not doing that. This year they're doing something new called WWE Originals.
Okay.
Which seems to be taking characters and locations from WWE and then reimagining them, and like they showed like concept art of like one of the wrestlers as like a Frankenstein type monster character and another character who looks kind of like a Swamp Thing character. Kind of reminds me of WWE Immortals for the mobile game that NetherRealms made.
Okay.
That I played a lot back in the day. Here it looks like those type of character designs are going to be like this kind of extra mode thing that says it's going to have its own story mode thing with it. Each character will have its own like level characters and like a showcase mode or a tower for itself or whatnot. And then they also announced a showcase mode, which is going to be featuring the 4 horsewomen characters of Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, and Bayley, and their like women's revolution thing that happened. It's all fucking great. I love it. I'm actually really excited. Like I was actually pretty happy with last year's version, though I still feel like it was lacking some things. And I still feel like this may also be lacking some things as well.
Wasn't last year's like loot box fucked, where there was like
a little
bit? Okay.
Not as bad as the previous year.
Okay.
But it was a little bit. But the My Player career mode was actually like the story mode was actually really good.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit more excited than I have been in a long time.
Okay.
And this also came shortly after this. Ukes, who has been the developer of the WWE games,
right?
all the way back to SmackDown on the PlayStation 1.
Right.
So back to you've been in part of WWE games like for fucking ever.
Right.
Announced that they are parting ways with 2K. And the development of this game of 2K20 was a joint. They worked with the new studio that's going to be doing it from then on, basically teaching them how to use the engine, working with them on making changes, making sure that they know how to use it in and out and how they can update it. And then they are done with WWE. Like games, like they're separating from 2K, they're going to be their own studio.
That's big, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty big thing. It's also crazy because about 6 months ago, Ukes announced that in addition to the WWE games, they were also developing another non-WWE wrestling game that was just being designed as direct competition. Since there was no other direct competition outside of Fire Pro,
right?
They were like, "Oh, we're just going to create our own competition," and now people are like, "Wait." So they're still doing that game, whatever that game is. We don't know what it is,
right?
But they're still doing it.
They're currently helping 2K finish WWE 2K20 and working on a competing product at the same time.
Yes,
seems like a really interesting conflict of interest they've got going on there.
So, but they've from here on out, 2K, the WWE 2K games are going to be. That's the one of the studios that does like I think the NBA 2K games or whatever, and then they're gonna have their own. And there's been holds the theories like it's gonna be some type of original IP type thing, or there's a new wrestling company, All Elite Wrestling AEW, that's gonna be on TNT in October. Some people are thinking that they're developing the AEW game because Kenny Omega, one of the vice presidents of and wrestlers of AEW, had said that someone asked him, "Is AEW gonna have a video game?" Because he's a very big video game person.
Yeah.
And he said there are talks and things are further along than you would think.
Interesting.
And he goes, but I can't really talk about it because we're not there.
Okay.
But so a lot of people are like, could that be what they're working on? Is they're working on a complete, when they say competitor, they're working on another game. I don't know. It's crazy. It's all crazy, Jeff.
Sounds
it's
pretty crazy,
and I'm excited.
I have one question. I have one crazy question for you, though. In this live action trailer, I noticed Hulk Hogan was in there.
Yeah.
I thought he was kind of persona non grata in the
as of the last game, they kind of undid that. He's been back. They did announce that one of the pre-order bonuses, I think, is China, which is the first 2K game that China has been in.
Okay.
Which I think is great. But yeah, no, it's there's a lot of subcontext with this live action trailer that's fucking great, and Amanda could literally do podcasts about analyzing just this video and its commentary on the wrestling industry. Like for hours, because she loves the trailer, and she's literally talked about like all the subtext of what's going on in this video.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay.
So
all right, well, let's roll here pretty fast. We got to launch another trailer for No Man's Sky Beyond. This one showed more than before. I don't know how much more I have to say
can
about
ride
this
the monsters
than last week. Yeah, you can ride the monsters. This one's going to be having the so the big multiplayer thing is in there now, and the VR update, and it's free, and it's coming in like 3 weeks or something like that. So I think that this is interesting when you look at these new No Man's Sky trailers. You're like, this looks like a completely different game.
It does.
Than the game that launched 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's
completely different.
This looks completely different than the game that I played endless hours of and everyone hated on, and I was just like, it's all right.
And it looks like the game that they described, right?
Yeah,
It looks a lot more.
It looks like the game they originally pitched to us. And
Yeah. Borderlands 3 got a character trailer. We've only been doing one of these. They had one for each one of the characters, but I picked the flak one was the first one that I saw.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I kind of like the fact that these. I say the same thing I said last week, John. I like the fact that these trailers are a little bit more serious than they're just like. But
there is a little bit of comedy to them.
Yeah, but they're not just like, can you believe it? Borderlands got 1 million guns with legs on them. So I don't know. Borderlands coming out. John, are you going to hashtag boycott Borderlands 3?
I think I don't know. I like Borderlands. I kind of want to play the game.
I think you're like the only person that I know that's like a big fan of Borderlands.
Yeah.
So
I have friends that are going to buy it, and I want to play. Like right there, there was pure comedy. Literally, there was one of the biggest villains in the background, just running away in the background, screaming.
Oh yeah,
he's being chased by one of the. It's fucking great.
Yeah,
watch the trailer. I think it's hilarious, and I think it's awesome. And is it serious? Yes, but it's also got some humor to it as well. I think all of them do have some tongue-in-cheek humor to them.
I kind of just wish that Borderlands 3 didn't have, if they just like announced Borderlands 3 and then like they duct tape Randy Pitchford to a chair, don't let him on social media, don't do anything, just announce Borderlands 3, put out some trailers, release the game, bing bang boom, you're done, right? It's the game itself does not look bad. It's just everything that's happened around it that keeps causing this whirling controversy storm. We had a couple of quick trailers for the Sega Genesis Mini. Got a showcase trailer. This one isn't really all that different.
Interesting thing is they announced, so they showed off all the previous games that had been announced before it, and then they said additional with an additional 8 games or something like that, or 7,
2
or additional like 2 or 3 games.
It was like Tetris, a version of Tetris.
No. Past that.
Oh.
Like that, like this trailer specifically came out and went, oh yeah, and also there's these other extra games that weren't previously known about.
Did it? I don't know. I thought I watched it, but I was probably just still mad that I can't get that 32X thing that they have in Japan.
I don't know, but yeah, no, it's somewhere in there. But yeah, so I generally thought it was kind of I'll probably buy it.
Yeah, I'll probably buy it.
It's a nice little package. It
looks good. Yeah,
preloaded with 40 classic games, and then it says because there's actually like 44 or 46 or 42 or 43 games on it.
Okay,
like at some point,
I missed that. I was too busy finding all the misery news to talk about. No, I was too busy being like just completely bowled over by the TurboGrafx 16 mini announcement, John.
Yeah, I will say it is a little weird that yeah. And the final lineup is revealed.
Yeah. Oh no, that was the Tetris was on here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't have a TurboGrafx 16 when I was a kid.
I did not either.
So like I don't really have a lot of like nostalgia for the games that they're showing here.
I mean, I'll play Splatterhouse, but
but Splatterhouse is like, you play that on the Genesis, right?
yeah.
It was a Genesis game.
I don't
too.
know. I mean, I don't know if it's the same game.
Probably not. In any case, March 19th of 2020, apparently pre-order on Amazon. I don't know about this one. I might just stick with the Sega Genesis. Let's just zip zap zoop through these. Cataclysm came out for Anthem and it kind of sucks, and everybody seems to be kind of like,
One worth the wait.
Yeah, it wasn't worth the wait. It was late. There wasn't really this was supposed to happen a long time ago. I think I've seen a couple of things out there that it seems like BioWare might just be like kind of quietly shuffling Anthem off to obscurity over in the corner. Like, who knows? Probably not going to be a trailer in 3 years for Anthem that is like, oh shit, they really did all that work on Anthem and made it the exact game that they said it was going to be in the first place. It's probably just going to be over here getting some minor content updates and bug fixes until it goes away. John, how excited are you about Stadia?
Not?
Okay, good. So you'll get to find out more about how not excited you are about Stadia this coming up week on the 19th. So, or week after next.
Yeah.
So set your watch for nothing because you don't like it.
I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm
not excited.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's not gonna get me to play PC games that I'm not already playing.
Yes. Well, speaking of PC games that you can play, you can now, or you're going to be able to play Darksiders 2 on your Nintendo Switch pretty soon.
Yeah.
In fact, we got a release date of September 26th, so not that long.
Yeah. This month.
And finally, a couple of quick things. Twitch apparently has released an app. So, like, you don't have to use OBS anymore to Twitch stream. Apparently, Twitch has been working on this for a while, and they have an actual app that is for streaming from your computer onto Twitch.
Wow.
That's supposed to be pretty easy to set up. I might try using it this week. See if it works any better than OBS.
Probably stick with OBS.
Well, I'm not going to uninstall OBS.
I mean, because OBS does more than just streaming.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But it looks like it's got, I don't know, it looks like it's got some features to it. I mean, it's Twitch, right? Like so, you know, if you've been wanting to stream on Twitch, but maybe you haven't want to go through a OBS tutorial, you know, maybe go check this one out.
Yeah, check it out. I mean, it's, you know what? I think that's great that they're doing that. Like, kind
of seems like should have happened a long time ago, right? And last but not least, Mario Maker 2 is an interesting game. I don't know if you saw this, John, but somebody actually made a first-person dungeon crawler in Mario Maker where you can literally, like, you go through pipes that, like, makes you go around, like, corners, and they've got the levels are all set up with this, like, forced perspective like an old NES game. So it doesn't actually, like, animate or anything, but it's totally like a maze that you go through, and then all the screens. It reminds me of an old Nintendo game, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool looking.
People do some crazy stuff with these games.
It's the 3D maze house level. I didn't even realize that it says first floor down there too.
Yeah.
So
this looks great. I'm amazed at what people can do with these types of games.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty damn awesome. And
I didn't think they had that much space to be able to make this many pipes that go to this many places, honestly. But anyway, just search for 3D Maze House if you want to check it out. And with that, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we are going to answer some questions, so stick around. John?
Yes?
Are you excited to be back?
I never left.
Yeah.
You're the only one who left the room. I've been here in front of this microphone.
Yeah. Were you just answering questions while I wasn't here? During the break?
No, I was actually kind of quiet.
You were
just
just
browsing Facebook.
Asking questions and then answering your own questions?
I should do that next time.
Yeah.
I'm sure the editors would love it.
You could send your questions to mail@rageselect.com and then you could answer them. Or maybe I should set you up an account. John@rageselect.com for all your John questions that you need answered. And then whenever I leave to go smoke, you could just answer the John questions.
I mean, if you want to do that, you're perfectly welcome to do that.
I feel like it would only make this 2.5-hour podcast even longer. Our first question this week comes in from Julio, who says, "Hey, Jeff and John, let's talk about anime. It's disgusting. JK. I've been on an anime binge lately, and I just finished Macross Frontier, and it has me itching for a Macross game developed by Project Aces, the Ace Combat team, with either creating its own story or maybe just adapting the original SDF Macross or even Macross Frontier. So, Rage Lords, what anime would you choose to be adapted into a video game by any developer of your choosing? Thanks for answering my question," and that's from Julio.
Also, his suggestion is not a bad one.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, Macross is just kind of like, I've lamented this before, but I feel like mecha in general has just kind of gone away.
Well, I mean, also here in the States, the rights for Macross are all over the fucking place because Harmony Gold's still around with the Robotech license. And,
Are they really?
yeah, they even tried like a few years back. They even tried to launch a Kickstarter that failed miserably.
Oh, okay.
To try to get like a movie and like it's really fucked up. The whole rights with Macross. It's why nothing from Macross has ever been brought over here in the States.
Okay,
is because they can't.
Well, there was that one Macross game on like the PlayStation 2, right?
Yeah,
it was like a long time ago.
I mean, there were a few Robotech games, but yeah, there's nothing that's been like pure like Macross.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like a good Macross game.
Okay.
I mean, I like the Robotech games that come out for a while there. Like they kind of started to get less and less good as they. But what was it, Robotech Battlecry or whatever? I thought was pretty good. But then the ones they released after that, Robotech Invasion and Robotech whatever, were kind of garbage.
Yeah.
But Battlecry was good.
I've had a weird. I always feel like anime games are weird because they're almost always now those arena fighters, right?
Yeah.
And they're almost always like Dragon Ball and One Piece and Naruto, and the fact that there is a Kill la Kill game is kind of interesting in its own right. But I was thinking a lot when we were playing that Kill la Kill game of like, what type of game, because so much anime is not about like mowing down a bunch of indiscriminate characters. Like a lot of it is the kind of like shonen person versus person thing, right? And I guess that kind of lends itself well to that arena fighter thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the only ones I've really seen anything are kind of in reverse. Like, I've heard the Steins Gate is a really good anime, and it's a decent game.
Okay.
Like I've seen a couple of instances of it was released as a game, I think. People can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And then it was simultaneously released as a game and an anime, and they were both pretty good and have fan followings.
Okay.
Or one way or the other, but yeah, it's like it seems like most games based on anime are either kind of text-based story, like
You're like a visual novel.
Yeah, like a visual novel,
right?
Or they're the anime brawler games, like all the shonen stuff,
right? So if you could pick one to then have a company make something that like wasn't one of those, what would you? What would? Oh, I still think that you could probably make a really good Cowboy Bebop game that had. It'd probably have to be an RPG, right?
Yeah,
because I mean, I can't imagine that a Cowboy Bebop game would be satisfying if it was just shooting like tons of guys.
Yeah, well, what's funny to me is the more I think about, like, for example, Cowboy Bebop, like,
right?
I can't picture how a modern game would be for Cowboy Bebop, but I can totally picture how a 16-bit Sega Genesis SNES game where you'd have the level where you're piloting the Bebop in space or being chased or having a dogfight in Spike's ship or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you have the levels where you have to platform and also kung fu fight your way to your target and have to capture your bounty and stuff like that. But like, I don't see how all that would connect together as a modern day
maybe
thing.
Something like Cyberpunk or like a Witcher type of game where it's not about like attacking 100 people, like it's more of a branching storyline type of thing. But then I also feel like you get into the weird thing of like, do you just make the story of the anime or do you make a side story? Like, is a side story good enough? Does anybody want to just like straight up play the anime? I feel like that's a lot of what Xenoverse and like Naruto are, right? Is they just pick a a Dragon Ball storyline, right? And you just kind of play.
Well, Xenoverse is a bad example because that's a time thing where you're traveling, where you're a person.
Oh yeah, the multiverse.
Yeah,
but the new one, right? I keep hearing that like the new
fighters
the
story,
RPG,
the Kakarot.
yeah, is a very specific Dragon Ball storyline. I think you can make like a Ghost in the Shell Metal Gear style game, right? Where it was kind of like a sneaky.
I mean, we've had some Ghost in the Shell games.
It's the only ones that I remember was there was an online shooter.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, it was a decent online shooter, but it just didn't really do a lot of Ghost in the Shell. And then there was like a Tachikoma shooter game that I remember there being back in the old days. I just feel like you probably couldn't make it like a shooter, right? It'd have to be like a hybrid RPG or like a stealth game or like or just like a JRPG, because then you could custom tailor the encounters to be deeper than just aim, fire, repeat, fire, repeat, that you do in like a lot of action games. You wouldn't have to have like as much trash mobs. Maybe something like, oh no, I got it, John. I got it. I was just listening to a podcast about this. Make what's a good anime, right? Cowboy Bebop, sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's an anime that popped in my head, but I'm suddenly blanking on the name of it, which is bothering me.
What's in it?
It's where realistic historical people from history when they die, they were transported to a different world.
Oh yeah, you've told me about that before.
Yeah, I can't think of the title of it off the top. Like it's bothering me that it's blanking on me.
Right, but no, make maybe a Cowboy Bebop game, but make it like Way of the Samurai, where it's like small fights, like RPG, kind of different paths that you can take, right? And then like maybe if you took like the original Way of the Samurai and made like 4 of those encounters and then like hooked them all together into a branching storyline, I think that could work, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find this on Google. Anime historical figures.
It's by the same guy who made Hellsing.
Okay.
If that helps at all.
Legend? No. Fate?
No.
Drifters. Okay. There you go.
I think that's it. I think it's Drifters.
Let's see. Let me just put Drifters into my Google here. Drifters, anime, historical figures. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. You think that make a good one?
Yeah, no, I think that would actually make a really great one. I don't know what studio you would give it to, but
Dynasty Warrior style.
But that one would probably be more closer to a Dynasty Warriors game, I guess. But because that one's actually really cool. Because it's also in a fantasy world, so it's not our world. It's not the real world. It's like when their person died, when they died in history, instead of going to the afterlife, they were sent to this fantasy world,
right?
Which is an alternate dimension, which they're basically supposed to do something.
I need to watch this.
It's good. It's good.
Show. Is it done? Is it like
yes, I think it is.
Okay.
I'll admit I haven't watched all of it. I've only watched most of it.
Okay.
But I need to get back to it. But yeah, I know it's done. There's like a complete series on DVD. I also wouldn't mind. You know what anime I also wouldn't mind a game for?
What's that?
Megalobox.
That would work.
Just a fucking boxing game.
Punch Out.
Yeah, you just make either Punch Out or fucking Fight Night or you know any type of whoever the people who make the MMA games, whatever. Just fucking, but put some fucking money into it to make it good and visceral and like you feel the punches and whatever.
Yeah, that could totally work. In fact, with something that small, you could probably do like the kind of animation that Arc does, right?
Yeah.
To make like 3D models but then have them kind of look like they do in the game. Yeah, no, that would totally work. Yeah. I don't Arkham City style game maybe would work with something like Full Metal Alchemist or Trigun maybe. A lot of the things I feel like whenever anime does open world games, they always just feel really empty, right? Like the for some reason I feel like the anime open worlds always just feel a lot more empty than Western open worlds.
Give the Red Dead Redemption team Trigun.
There you go.
Or give them Cowboy Bebop.
Sure. Yeah.
Let them do something different that's not necessarily Western, but has a Western flavor to it.
Do I want Dan Houser to write a Cowboy Bebop story? I don't know that I do.
Yeah.
I don't know that I do.
No.
Yeah, it's weird because I was thinking about this when we were playing Kill la Kill. Is that so many animes, especially so many of the most popular ones? You know, it's like the fights aren't just like fights. It's all about like, oh, I figured out the special way to get around your defenses to defeat you, which is hard to do in a video game because it means that you're like add a mechanic. Maybe that's the way to do it is you make like one of those arena games.
I mean, in all honesty, going back to the Megalobox thing, using Punch-Out, that's what Punch-Out is. You have to figure out how to beat them. You're not...
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of times in anime it's like, oh, I closed my eyes, you know. It's like a weird esoteric solution. Like My Hero Academia, right? Is that there's all this information that happens. Maybe that's what you do is you just make an arena fighter though that has some kind of like on the fly like upgrade tree where the solution is to try to figure out what defense or what type of offense would work against the person that you're dealing with. I don't know. It's hard. I just kind of wish that there would make some kind of big budget one because they all seem like they're fan service, right?
Yeah, they're all quick cash grabs.
Yeah, none of them seem to be taking the source material very seriously. It's mostly just like, hey, you like Dragon Ball? Here's another game, right?
And in all honesty, outside of like things for like Dragon Ball, which has the fan base, but there's not outside of I know Super's around Dragon Ball Super, but they're not necessarily adapting that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why the Kakarot, the Dragon Ball RPG, is they're taking their time with it to make this kind of big open world RPG game, whereas because they need it to come out when the anime is coming out, and they the Japanese companies need to come out while that anime is coming out in Japan, and things like that. So I mean, it's kind of it's the fate of all licensed games. It needs to come out at a specific time, and the developer's not allowed to just make the fucking game.
It just do whatever, regardless of how hard it
or how long it takes.
How hard it breaks the storyline. Yeah. I agree. Let's see. This person did not sign the email. I'm gonna call you Hatchet. Hatchet writes in and says, "Hey Jeff and John, I just played through Detroit Become Human, which just came on PS Plus, and it was amazing, and at least for me, went totally under the radar as an all-time game that got lost in the shuffle of great games last year like God of War, Spider-Man, and RDR2.
I can agree with that.
You need to go back and listen to John and I do Game of the Year, because I think we were both just like, fucking Detroit, like, what? Yeah. Question mark?
Yeah, David Cage made a game that was actually, like, really good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have an awful habit of getting the bad ending and then having to go back and replay it again to ultimately feel satisfied. Same thing happened with The Witcher 3. My question is, which games have you gotten the bad ending for, and how did you react? Thanks, and that's from our good buddy Hatchet, not their real name. How many games you got the bad ending for, John?
Well, I feel like all the endings are the bad ending for Far Cry 5.
That's true.
No. I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like for Heavy Rain, I got
a bad-ish.
I got a bad-ish ending for one of the characters.
Okay.
So, like, one of the characters got a bad ending, but, like, everything else was okay. Funny thing is, Detroit, I played that and fucked up a mission so bad that I stopped wanting to play it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was so upset that I fucked it up that bad. And I'm also the type of person, I'm like, nope, first playthrough, whatever you choose, that's what happens. And now I'm just kind of like, I fucked that up so bad, I ain't going back.
Yeah.
Like, it made me not want to play the game. And it's like, I'm sure, like, that doesn't mean that I'm going to get a bad ending because I fucked it up that one instance. It's probably very easy to come back and get whatever the best ending is.
Right.
But it was just one of those things where it was just like, man, unlike life, I can just choose not to play this.
See, here's the thing that I'm wondering is that up until something like The Witcher 3, okay, well, personally, I get to a point, like there was a point in Fire Emblem where there was a question that was asked to my character. I just wanted the internet to be like, what does this change? Because nowadays I'm not interested. Like, The Witcher has this whole thing where you have to make decisions, and then you don't find out whether it was a good or a bad thing that you did until, like, it's too late to go back and reload your game. Like, 12 hours later, you find out the consequences of what happened earlier on in The Witcher 3. But like before that, I mean, like it was pretty clear in Fallout, right? Like whether you were being an asshole or not, right? It was pretty clear in Mass Effect whether you were being an asshole or not, right?
Yeah.
You're picking Paragon and not Renegade. In Infamous, it was pretty clear whether you were being a good person or a bad person. And then there's like a lot of games where there's something that happens right at the end of the game where you choose the ending, like in Mass Effect 3, right?
Yeah.
Where you choose. It's not based on the things that you've done previously. It's, you know, so I'm trying to think of the number of games out there where you can just like inadvertently kind of get a bad ending. Like David Cage games, yeah, but I can honestly say every game that David Cage has made except for Detroit Become Human, by the time I got to the end of it, I'd kind of lost the plot of what was going, or not the plot, but I kind of was
Annoyed by something.
Fine, just whatever, fine. Let's just end this shit and fine. I don't care anymore, David Cage. And in Detroit, it all seemed like ambiguous enough that I didn't feel like, I felt like the ending was fine no matter what, right? Like my decisions made this ending. This is my ending. I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
Maybe like Until Dawn, maybe, but then I never really was all that curious about going back and playing like for a bunch of different endings, like when Brian and I played Until Dawn.
Yeah, I had some people dying Until Dawn.
I think I got like one person killed.
I think I
two.
got I got quite a few people killed.
Okay.
Like I think I got like 4, like in the last segment that has like 5 people, like it's like the guy from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., what's her name from Heroes, the nerdy guy, and then the girl he's interested in,
right,
and then like the kind of the stuck up bitch character. Like those were the last characters that were alive, and then I got the guy from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. killed.
Okay. But even then it didn't feel like, I don't know, I guess it's like the thing, Mr. Hatchet, is that if you can always go look up the good ending on YouTube, right? Like, and I know that's not entirely satisfying, but I feel like it used to be that games didn't make you make a hardcore decision until, or if they made you make a hardcore decision, it was so clear, right? Like, I'm going to make this decision is going to go all the way to the end of the game. So if I fuck it up, I'm just going to reload until I get the good.
Yeah.
The good.
Yeah, but I mean, what he's asking is, have you ever just gotten the bad ending on your first try and then gone back to play to get the good ending?
The only ones. Okay, so the only ones that would fall into that category would be like, okay, David Cage games, Telltale games, and Until Dawn, right? And all 3 of those cases, I didn't care enough to care. So I don't know whether I got the bad ending. I don't know what the best ending was, because by the time I got to the end of most David Cage games, all Telltale games, and Until Dawn, I was just like, I'm done with whatever is here. I don't think I've ever gotten like a catastrophically bad ending. It's also one of the reasons that I'm still a little weird about The Witcher, is because the idea of just like, oh, well, that decision that you made in the first 4 hours fucked up the end game. Now this one guy is dead in the end game because of that thing that you did. And it's just like, I don't have time to play this game a million times.
Yeah. I will say, I think, because I know Max Payne 2 had 3 different endings, and I think it had 3 different endings. And I think the first time I played it, I actually got what would be considered the bad ending.
Okay.
But those endings are changed based on difficulty and a few other things.
Okay.
But yeah, I think maybe I got the bad ending for Max Payne, because I remember the first time I played Max Payne 2, I was like, well, that's a fucked up ending. And then someone was like, no, there's more than one ending. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go back and play it. And then I played it and got the other ending. But it was like, if I remember correctly, it had like 2 or 3 different endings, though one of the endings you could only get if you played it on the hardest difficulty. And
generally speaking, I don't think I've ever gone back to like played all the way through a game, gotten a bad ending, and then been like, well, I guess that's just my bad ending, but I'm dumb, or I'm sorry, I'm real frazzled today. Got to the end, got a bad ending, and then gone, oh shit, I got to go play this game over again to get the good ending, right? Like, I'll just look up the good ending on YouTube for the most part.
Mind you, this was back before YouTube was a thing, but
right.
But yeah.
But nowadays, that's what I'm about. Is I don't generally play games. There's some games that I'll play more than once, but not a lot of them.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Our next question comes in from Jose Luis, who says, "Hey, Rage Like Crew, because of a layoff that happened at the call center I was working at, I've had a good amount of extra time on my hands. Some of that time was used on finishing up classic games, specifically Ocarina of Time on my 3DS and Final Fantasy VII on my Switch. While playing these games were fun, I couldn't help but feel frustrated. There'd be long stretches of time where I would just run around and go, what the hell am I supposed to do? Thankfully, I was able to pull up a walkthrough to guide me through to the next objective. So my question is, were older games more obtuse in their objectives, or am I just plain dumb? I'm honestly open to believing either answer. Thanks for reading my question, Jose Luis."
I do feel like there are some games that are a little bit too obtuse, but not a lot.
Okay.
Like I could see where in those two games that he specifically brought up, I could see where there are points where you may go, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do now?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes there can be a thing that says what you're supposed to do, but it happens so quickly, or maybe you hit a button and you accidentally missed it, but didn't realize you missed it.
Yep.
That tells you what you're supposed to do next, and it never repeats.
Yep.
Because a lot of the older games had a thing where it would show a thing of text, and if you skipped past it, it would never repeat that text, and there was no way for you to tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
Sometimes games would do that, unfortunately, and it was very easy to accidentally hit a button and skip past a piece of text and not even realize it.
Or, with Ocarina, I feel like there were plenty of times where there were just characters who'd just be like, you need to go to the West. And I'd be like, I've been all over the West. I went to the West. I did everything.
We're in the West.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. And then you just got to go online and be like, all right, what the fuck do I do? Like, you tell me what to do. No, it's one of the things that I feel like take for granted, right? Is map markers, exclamation points, the breadcrumb trails. One of the problems that I had with Wolfenstein Youngblood, right, was that Wolfenstein Youngblood didn't have a map. It's just you would set an objective and then it would put a pip on your compass that would tell you like what direction to go, which was fine when you were on the street, right? You were trying to get to a level, but then there were these towers that had like multiple levels, and it would be kind of unclear exactly where they wanted me to go. And so I would just be like, where do I go? So I just get in the wrong elevator, go up, go down, go. It was just like, oh my God. So no, I don't think it's Jose Luis is the answer to his question.
I don't think you're dumb.
I think that there was a lot of games back in the olden days that,
and even some games in the new days.
Yes, that expect you to just kind of wander around and stumble upon the thing you're supposed to do.
Quick tangent thing.
Sure.
Side thing that just brought up, you were talking about maps. Did you hear the thing about the new Modern Warfare?
Oh, they took the minimap out.
They took the minimap out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that briefly.
Yeah.
But we already haven't had enough downer news in the first part.
Yeah. And people are apparently like super upset about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, when I play Call of Duty online, I mean, I use that shit all the time to find out where things are coming from.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Call of Duty. I mean, it seems, I don't know. I'm going to be really interested to see how Modern Warfare works out, because part of me wonders.
Yeah.
I wonder. So, but yes, it is not you, Jose Luis. There's plenty of, go play, what's that game? That's that NES game. Go play Clash at Demon Head or Rygar, right? Like, they didn't tell you. Go play Castlevania 2, right? Where the imperfect translation was trying to be cute about giving you hints, and you're just like, what? Where do I go? You just walk back and forth across the entire map.
Yeah.
Gotta go squat in that one corner and let the whirlwind come down and take you away. Yeah. Let's see. So it comes in from Babada Boop Boop. Tom says, "Hail, Rage Lords. Hope this finds you both well. Fingers crossed that John is there.
Hey.
With
I
you,
am.
as he is integral to this question.
Oh, okay.
I would be interested in knowing if Jeff is aware of the changes to Bray Wyatt's character in the WWE.
Oh.
I feel like Jeff's reaction to the Firefly Funhouse would be hilarious. Take care and rage on, Tom from across the pond." That's why they watch the movie They watch Firefly the show in a house.
No.
Firefly
So,
house?
do you remember me ever telling you about a character named Bray Wyatt in WWE?
So you have to tell me more than that.
It's kind of like a a cult, almost like a cult leader, wears Hawaiian shirts, is very scary looking.
Did you dress up as him for Halloween?
I
Okay,
did.
yes, I know who you're talking about.
He recently he disappeared for a while, and he came back, and he's doing like this weird Mr. Rogers kind of Firefly Funhouse kids show thing. Okay. And like he's basically like, oh, we're gonna there's like puppets and stuff and all this sorts of stuff.
What?
And then like it slowly, as you're watching it, slowly gets turned into this weird, creepy, dark thing.
Okay.
And like he's like, oh, and you're all my all my fireflies are great, and you're all really cool people, and and you're always, everybody's welcome here in the Firefly Funhouse, and it's all about togetherness, and all you have to do is let me in.
Okay.
And then like he just revealed like this new persona called the Fiend, which is the crazy Joker clown evil fucking mask thing.
Okay.
That you probably also saw in other pictures or whatever.
Yeah. This thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that's like his wrestling, like what actually he goes out to wrestle in.
Okay.
It's fucking crazy, and it's fucking brilliant.
Okay.
It's great. It's literally, I love all the little Firefly Funhouse segments.
Yeah.
And I would highly recommend watching some of them, because especially if you could go back to like the first one and then watch them all in order.
Yeah.
Because they're legitimately like, oh, this is kind of like some weird public access kids show, and it's kind of like weird, but then like as you watch it, just slowly gets more and more creepy and like perverted, and it's so interesting with his character. Like there were people who were generally upset and thought that they were like ruining his character.
Yeah.
And it actually makes sense because previously he was a cult leader. He would come out and be like, I'm the eater of worlds. I am this this entity that is mystical or whatever, almost like an Undertaker style thing.
Right.
And and all you have to do is follow me, my little sheep, and we'll blah 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 blah, and I'm kind of thing, and like this whole cult persona,
right,
kind of thing. And it wasn't working. Like he constantly would lose all the time, and it was a thing where so he changed tactics.
Yeah.
And now he's going after the children and being like, hey, everyone's welcome here. I have exercised my demons, and I am a good person. And I'm sorry for all the bad and evil things that I did. But now I'm going to show you all about the positivity, the positive things like self-image, and we're going to show you about all these great things and talk about all these nice things, and everyone's welcome here, and all you have to do is let me in. Let me into your lives and follow me. And oh shit, he's still fucking evil. He's just approaching it from a different angle.
It reminds me.
Great.
It reminds me of what's that one? Don't
hug me. I'm
don't
scared.
Hug me. I'm scared. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that.
Very,
a little
very
bit.
like it's very clearly someone whoever was involved in writing this saw that,
right,
And what's even great is like, so for the longest time, he wasn't on TV. All you would get were these little Firefly Funhouse segments,
right,
with these puppets. And then right before he actually reappeared on actual live events, you would, for the weeks, like for like 2 or 3 weeks leading up to it, like people would be walking backstage, and if you paid attention, you just see one of the puppets in the background. Like they would never call attention to it. Like it's in the background, doing something.
Okay,
sometimes looking right at the camera, and like I said, the scene wouldn't be about that. It would be about some wrestler having some grievance, doing something, or arguing with somebody, or walking down a hallway to his next match.
Yeah.
And just in the background is this fucking puppet. And
That's great. That's great.
It was fucking great. I love it.
Yeah, that seems like a really good move. Yeah.
Everything that Bray Wyatt does is fucking genius.
Cool. All right, I'm still not going to watch wrestling, John.
I know,
but I'm more than happy to have you tell me stuff about wrestling. I'm more than happy to listen to you talk to me about wrestling. Yeah, cool. John, I feel like we've had this question before. In fact, I think we might have had it not too long ago.
Okay,
but let's. It came in today when I asked people for questions, so let's ask it.
Okay.
This is one mostly for you.
Oh,
so
hi.
This person did not sign it. Oh, no, Brandon. Brandon writes, hello, Jeff and John. Brandon here with an easy question. I hate coffee and drink Red Bull as my morning kicker. People are always amazed when I say I don't like dirty bean water. What are some food/drinks that you guys hate but society seems to adore? Thanks for keeping the site going all these years. That's from Brandon.
Is it for me?
Well, I don't know. I feel like we had this question or a question like this not too long ago. I'm not very picky when it comes to food.
I'm a picky eater, but I don't like. I don't know. I don't like
cheese.
Oh, I love cheese.
I'm kind of like this about cheese.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm like this about anything specific. There's stuff that I don't like, and usually there's a reason I don't like it.
Sure,
whether it be a texture thing or a specific taste that it has.
What's the thing that people keep trying to get you to eat that you know you don't want to eat? You know, where they're just like, you got to try my guacamole salad, or I don't know. I feel like there's always a thing.
I mean, I don't know. I know that, like, I don't like things with. So here's the thing. I don't like anything that has cooked fruit or vegetables. Like, I prefer like raw fruit.
Okay.
Like apples, fucking love them. You give me an apple pie, I won't eat it.
Right.
Because I can't, like, I just can't stand
it's soft.
That's
mushy.
Purely a texture thing.
Yeah.
You know, green beans. Yeah, I love green beans.
Sure.
But like, I like raw cabbage. I hate cooked cabbage. It's a weird thing. But
you should have my cooked cabbage. I roast cabbage wedges in the oven.
No.
It's very crispy.
But it's that one's more of a smell thing. I don't like the smell of it when it's cooked.
Yeah. Cabbage is stinky. It's stinky.
And smell does affect my taste.
Sure.
If I don't like the way something smells, I ain't gonna like the way it tastes.
Sure. Smell is part of taste. I mean, that's why you drink beer out of a glass, so that when you're drinking it, you're also smelling it, and you tend to taste it more. So as opposed to just like a long neck, right? Then you're just tasting it. You're not smelling it. You know, pour it in a glass first.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, my dad used to say, you got to let the beer breathe. That's why you pour it in the glass. And it was like, that's stupid. And then John Rubio was like,
no, there's a reason.
There's a reason. It's so that you're smelling it while you're tasting it, so that you're really getting a full head of it. That's why they have those beerist glass, right? Yeah. So that when you're really kind of like sticking your whole snoot up in where the beer is. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, but like I typically don't like. Well, I mean, I'm also like mildly allergic to carrots. So, but I love carrots. That's also raw carrots. I don't like to cook carrots. But also like I don't like pickles on my hamburger because they're usually warm and
gross.
I prefer cold pickles. You know,
I don't like pickles on my hamburger either. But that's just because I like the savory part of the burger.
Yeah.
So like the meat fat and cheese and like mayo and like tomato and like, you know, crunchy lettuce. I don't want just a bunch of sour pickles in with my, I don't know. Sour's okay, but I just don't want it on a savory.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I admit I'm a picky eater. I have weird hangups with certain food. Like I don't like pineapples at all.
Okay.
And there's not anything wrong with pineapples. I just don't like them.
Yeah. John, you're allowed not to like pineapples.
Yeah. I actually no. It's like I don't like. It's weird because I'll drink like pineapple flavored things, like drinks,
like pineapple juice,
like not pineapple juice specifically, but like artificially flavored like pineapple sodas or you know, stuff like that. It's like I'll drink that. I don't necessarily love it, but I'll drink it.
Yeah.
But if you put a pineapple in front of me, like I don't want it. I don't like it. I don't.
Pineapple upside down cake.
Yeah, I can't. Again, pineapple cooked. I can't.
Cooked pineapple.
I cannot.
No.
Putting pineapple on a cake on a baking
cake,
baked in a cake
right.
doesn't. No, I can't do it.
Frozen pineapple. Frozen pineapple crushed up in a snow cone. What about that? What if we just get all the vegetables in a snow cone?
Pineapple daiquiri or something?
Yeah, snow cone form from now on.
Yeah.
There we go. Cabbage, but in a snow cone. That way it's not mushy. It's hard. It's crisp.
I think if I actually do have one thing that I it's generally accepted that I just flat out hate is more of a is gum.
Oh yeah, fuck gum. Fuck gum.
I dislike gum. What's funny is my hang up with gum actually has nothing to do with flavor. It has nothing to do with texture. It has to do with the fact that it is a candy that you cannot eat. or at least that you're not supposed to eat.
To preach it, brother. I'm right there with you. What are you gonna do? I'm just gonna chew on this thing and spit it out. That's just jaw exercise.
Yeah.
I exercise my jaw by talking. I don't need a fucking filthy.
Also,
Habit.
after a while, it loses its taste. And, I like candy. I like candy that you can eat. I don't like candy. It's the devil's candy, is what I'm saying. It's there to tempt you, but you're not supposed to.
Yep.
So I typically I don't like gum at all.
Okay. Oh, I got one.
Okay.
I don't really like soda. Never really have.
Okay.
Everybody drinks soda all the time. Soda's everywhere. Soda.
Yeah.
When I was young, I didn't like the fizz. The fizz made my mouth hurt. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way
I can understand that.
fizzy was. And then as I've gotten older, they're all just too goddamn sweet. Like regular Coke, Pepsi. Like I get a Mexican Pepsi from time to time. I actually like Pepsi a little better than Coke because Coke is just more like cloyingly sweet. But
Yeah.
I mean, like I drink water. Like I've been drinking water my entire life, or like fruit juice or tea, coffee, that kind of stuff. But I mean, I used to drink like Mountain Dew, but that was only because I needed the caffeine that was in it. But like I've had friends, I don't know if and I'm not, like, this is no judgment. This is just Jeff's preference, right? I have friends who just, like that's what they drank when they were just hanging around, right? Is just hanging around your house, watching a movie. You got a soda, just sipping on your soda, watching a movie.
I will admit there was probably a 3-year period where it was rare that I was not drinking a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Like, and probably to the point of people were actually worried about my health because I didn't drink water.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And that's not to say, and that was not a choice. It just was the way it was.
Sure.
Like if given the choice of like, oh, let me get something to drink. Oh, there's a soda. Fuck it, I'll just get the soda.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people like that. It's not, I'm not judging anybody. I was there. And then, I had a thing where I got sick, not because of soda,
right,
but because I threw up, and what I threw up was the soda.
That'll do you. That'll do you.
But it wasn't. But like, I didn't throw up because of the soda.
Sure.
That was the thing. So I then stopped drinking soda for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And started drinking a lot more water, started drinking a lot of Powerades, teas, and things like that. And then slowly I started drinking sodas again, but I'd still usually the first thing I drink in the day is a giant thing of water.
Yeah.
Like now it's kind of like I've evened out a little bit more.
See, even when I was a kid, we didn't keep soda around. My dad drank coffee, and my mom drank like Diet Sprite. So we'd have like Sprite around, but like it was never a cola.
I will say there was a period where I did drink a shit ton of energy drinks.
Oh yeah.
To the point of that energy drinks stopped having an effect on me. Like literally it just didn't matter because it didn't affect me, and I kind of just weaned myself off of it. And then now if I drink an energy drink, it does actually
give you give you energy?
Give me a little energy. But there was a period where like 5-hour energies did nothing.
Yeah.
For me. Didn't matter. Just did nothing.
A 5-hour energy is just B12. It's a gigantic B12 shot.
Red Bull did jack squat.
Yeah.
Monster didn't do anything. Like it just didn't matter because I literally there was what was it before it went out of business, or before they went out of business again, Jolt, which for anyone who doesn't know what Jolt is, it's twice the caffeine of a cup of coffee,
right?
But it's a soda. But they used to sell them in these like kind of Monster energy drink style cans, that looked like batteries.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought 2 24-packs.
Yeah.
So literally, I had like 48 Jolts in my house.
Yeah.
And
96 cups of coffee,
and would drink like 3 of those a day.
Yeesh.
And that
a lot
was
of Jolt.
Yeah, and eventually it just had no effect.
But you know what? I almost feel like if you're talking about like drip brew coffee, like there was a point when Starbucks happened where like Starbucks coffee is like ultra caffeinated, like super caffeinated. Like a medium Starbucks has, I think, like twice the caffeine of what's in like a Red Bull.
Yeah.
So it also kind of depends on that. Like I feel like Jolt would have to quadruple the caffeine to get up to the level that like a lot of people are at nowadays.
Yeah.
Anyway, soda's my answer because I just I don't do it. Let's take some Discord questions. Let's see. Blau79 says, what is a minor game mechanic that just rubs you the wrong way? For example, when I was playing Far Cry 5, I was stunned with how much detail they put into the world, yet the doors on all the houses open both ways. What is that? Doors don't do that. Or being able to steer while falling through the air in Overwatch. That's from Blau. So stuff that just kind of pisses you off.
Being able to steer while falling through the air in Overwatch?
Like when you're falling, you can kind of like move yourself a little bit.
I mean, the people who do that, yeah, okay.
I'm trying to think of anything that just like really gets on my nerves when it comes to weapon durability. Not all weapon durability, but like The Last of Us or like zombie games where it's like your knife breaks after you like stab two people with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, who the fuck's knife is this? Like, the whole point of this thing is to stab people. What good would it be if it, I mean, like, I don't know. Those like scissors pieces that you got in The Last of Us where you like stab a zombie in the head and then it would break immediately, and it was just like, I don't know. I don't get that. I don't get that. So whenever they have like single use things, or like Resident Evil, where you have, in the RE2 remake, you had the knife, right?
Yeah.
But then whenever you used it, it would degrade, and you can only stab zombies like, I don't know, 20, 30 times before the knife broke, and it was just like, who the fuck did this combat knife, right? Like it's made for, it's not made, it doesn't just break after 20, I don't know. I have knives that I've owned for years that I use all the time. I don't feel like unless they fucked up the tang, man. They fucked up the tang when they were making it. And now the tang's all warped, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Got this cracks in it. I need to watch more Man-at-Arms. It's like me. I don't know, anything that you can think of that kind of goes to that. I guess when enemies in a game, when like one enemy sees you and just suddenly every single person on the map knows where you are.
Yeah.
When there is a sneaking mechanic, right? Obviously not when there's not, but that always kind of irritates me because it's just like, well, how does that guy over there know that I'm the bad guy? I just rubbed up against this guy one time and then ran away.
I will say that was something that actually bothered me with, you're going to hate that I say this, a Hitman.
Uh-huh.
The first Hitman.
Yeah.
Because like I would do something and it would say, oh, someone found a body.
Right.
Well, your disguise is, they know they're hunting you. They're searching for you. Your disguise is now bad. You have to change disguises. But you can't go back to that disguise because then people will know it was you.
I think that only happens if you're seen doing stuff. Or if you knock somebody out and they saw you and then they get woken back up, yes. But if you just like shoot somebody and the body gets found, I don't believe it does that. I played a lot of Hitman 2016.
Yeah. Like I said, I was playing it the other night and it was like there was no way the person. There was no way. Literally, I was a thing where I threw someone over the edge of something and they were dead. Like they were dead. It wasn't a knockout, wake them up kind of thing. But there was no way anyone could have seen me. Mm-hmm. And then as I was walking in another room, the body was found. And then suddenly it was like, well, you're being hunted. You need to change disguises. And I'm like, how would they have known?
Interesting. I would like to know more information about that scenario.
But yeah,
guys spent a lot of time fucking with the mechanics of who knows what you did and when and how and why. But no, but I get that though. That was the thing that a lot of people didn't like about that system in Absolution was that it was like, I think it was more hardcore where it was like everybody that's got the same disguise as you can identify you, but nobody who doesn't can identify you. Whereas in Hitman, it's got the whole like, there's enforcers, right? So there's like specifically people who have your same disguise who will identify you, but there's plenty of people who won't identify you. In any case, no, I can see that. I mean, that's always been a problem with stealth too.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, like in Metal Gear, how you get seen and then you run away, and then eventually the guards whose one job is to guard this place with their AK-47s are like, well, I guess he's gone. I should just go back to doing what I was doing. And it's like, well, no, you didn't shoot anybody or find a body. You guys are probably going to be on alert for a while, even though I recognize that a game where once you put the guards on alert that they never went off alert for the entire mission would be kind of boring.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. Anything else?
No, that's about it.
Yeah. I think that sometimes, not often, it's mostly it's more of a chuckle thing than anything else, but the way that characters in video games, any video game where you eat food to get your health back, and it's just like you always instantly eat the food. There's never an animation for doing it, and your character
Sometimes.
Yes, that's true. Sometimes there is, but your character never has to poop.
Oh,
ever.
yeah, no.
You go into Breath of the Wild, and Link's system is operating at 100% because you could just eat 100 steaks, and you should be dead. You should be dead. You should not be able to eat any more steaks, which is why Judgment and Yakuza are so great, is because you do have to eat to get your health back, but then you're full, and so you can't get any more benefits until your stomach empties out a little bit.
Yeah. And until you get a certain perk or whatever, you can't even like eat. Like it's actually has negative effects.
Oh yeah, if you keep eating.
You keep eating.
Yeah.
And then like if you get a certain, then you have to get like a certain perk that allows you to be able to just eat infinite amounts.
Also, Max Payne should be dead.
Oh yeah, the number of painkillers he's taking.
Like in a 24-hour period, I think Max Payne on average down like in the first game, 200, 300 painkillers. Just like you're dead. You would be dead. Also, those got to be a hell of a painkiller just to be like, bam, then it works. Kate Josie says, Dear Rage Select, have you made it through Streets of Rogue yet? No. You're not playing Streets of Rogue, right?
I don't think so.
You don't think you're playing Streets of Rogue?
I'm trying to remember what Streets of Rogue is.
It's that one where it's like, you remember where there was the zombies and the gorilla, that kind of top down, that was a Team 17 game, or like maybe Tiny Build. Remember we did a Patreon?
Oh, yeah.
As the doppelganger.
No,
and
I'm not
yeah,
playing
okay.
that.
Also, describe the best pizza you've ever eaten. Love you guys. It's the best pizza you've ever eaten, John.
It was a New York style pizza. It was just a regular pepperoni pizza, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
From where?
A place that doesn't exist anymore off of 6th Street.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like literally one of the first times I'd ever gone to 6th Street.
Yeah.
And
It's like the Hoax Death Pizza or whatever. That's still there, right?
No, not that. But that is, I think, still there. But it was just like a shop that was like a window. Literally, you walk up, you order pizza, and they give it to you. But it was like I said, it was a New York style pizza. And then I think like the next time I went, it was it was no longer a pizza place. It was it was a completely different Italian restaurant place window, type thing.
So they just hand you like a bowl of spaghetti.
They had like pastries and like Italian, like almost like pizza pockets.
Okay.
But like
a calzone.
Calzones,
Okay.
yeah. Calzones and
That's
stuff
the
like
best pizza you've ever had?
Yeah, it was a really good pizza.
It's just marinara, cheese, and pepperoni?
Yeah.
Just flat style?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just really good bread. Like really good dough.
The dough was really good.
The dough was really good. It was a very rich tomato, and the cheese was nice, and the pepperoni slices were like the big, huge ones.
Okay.
It was really good.
Okay. I got three. I got three that tied for number one.
Okay.
One is there's a place here in Austin, Texas called Conan's Pizza, and they're great. You ever been to Conan's?
No.
Okay. You're a pizza fan, right? You might.
Yeah.
So they're deep dish, and Conan's is. If people are always asking, I don't know why I remember this. People are always asking, like, if I come to Austin, where should I go? Conan's Pizza is a cool place to go because the inside of it's all wood, like all the walls are wood, and they've got these wooden like booths that you sit in, and then the walls all have either comic book covers or like Boris Vallejo fantasy book, with the barbarian guy, and there's a lady and a tiger, and like frames all over the whole place.
Yeah.
Anyway, of all the pizzas in this town, most of them make me ill. Conan's does not make me ill, and I'm pretty sure it's because their tomato sauce is like, it may not be made in-house, but I think it's different than like what Domino's or Pizza Hut puts on their pizza. But their Supreme Pizza, the Savage, is great. In fact, most of their pizzas are really good. They have one that's like a cheeseburger pizza that's just got like hamburger and bacon and then like cheddar as well as mozzarella on it. It's really good. But the nice deep dish, nice pizzas. Their Supreme, I like it, and it also has anchovies on it, which I'm a fan of. The problem is their pizzas are just pretty expensive. So, I can't afford to spend $25 on a medium pizza. on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
So it's very good. The other thing is they don't deliver to me, so it's like I always have to go and pick it up from them. Something I'll do every so often, but it's not like an everyday thing.
Okay.
Number 2, when I went to Chicago about 5 years ago with my dad, I went to a place in Chicago. I don't remember where the place. It was a place, and we got the Chicago deep dish meat lovers pizza. I like Chicago style pizza because of Mangia's here in Austin, and it was just a large pizza with a lot of meat and junk and stuff in it. And the lady that brought us the pizza, we actually asked for the large of this one, and then like, can we also get like a small veggie pizza? And she was like, like a large pizza feeds like 6 people, and my dad and me were just like, that's great. So bring the large pizza, and then we just devour the entire large pizza because I have no impulse control. So, and last but not least, when I was in Amsterdam, there was a Venetian restaurant that we went to that had a pizza. John, I don't know how I could tell most human beings in this world. I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and there's no way that their brain is going to accept this. It's a tuna and onion pizza.
Okay.
It's a pizza with like fresh tuna and then onions on the top of it, and it wasn't cut. It was just like in a medium kind of thing, and then you just take a knife and a fork and kind of get in there, and boom. I don't know what it was. It was probably just the fact that, like, again, the sauce wasn't just the sugar-tastic sugar bombs that we get here from, like, Pizza Hut and Domino's, right? But it was so good, I went back and had it a second time, and it was super good a second time,
Well,
too.
that's good to know.
Yeah. Tuna fish and onion pizza. Check it out. Check it out, John.
No, I don't like onions or tuna fish.
Damn it. You should have said that back when we were doing the what foods do you hate? Is it because of the...
I don't like onions normally, but like I said, tuna fish, it's a texture thing.
Okay. What about like tuna sushi?
I don't like any type of like seafood.
Okay. No seafood. All right, let's do one more. And then we'll finish it up. Chili writes in and says, hello, Jeff and John. Oh yeah, I remember this question. How much of the Dojo videos are scripted / planned out / thought up in the moment? I can't imagine that it's easy to play the game while maintaining conversation, especially when some games require your full attention. Is there a list of topics the two of you agree on to touch upon before recording, or do you just let the discussion flow? And then Sal says, I want to take a moment to let us know you mean a lot to people. Your videos and content are deeply appreciated. Lots of good, kind words for me and us. So I won't read all that. I'll read that to myself.
So here's the thing. I will come in and answer this.
Yes.
It's 100% scripted. Like literally, it's so scripted that Jeff has actually programmed a robot that sounds like us that just talks.
Yeah.
And reads the script.
Text to speech.
Yeah, it's text to speech.
Text to speech.
We're not even actually playing the games.
Yeah.
Jeff plays the games. I'm not even here right now.
There is no John. I don't know how many times I have to tell you all this.
No. It's all. I mean, we're playing the games. It's
100% off the cuff.
It's off the cuff. It's that's why sometimes when it's not that great of a game, sometimes it might get quiet and we're just like, To
be honest, when it's not that great of a game, that's fine because then we can just talk about whatever the fuck we want to. Talk about fucking tuna fish pizza, right? But like the problem that I have is that when it is a game that demands your attention, then it's hard to stop and pay attention. It's like I realize now that last week I should never have done a Fire Emblem live stream for 2 hours when I was going to be just straight listening to the characters talk instead of chatting, which I assume that most people come around here want to hear us banter, right? That they're not just here just to watch the video game. But yes, none scripted, none. Now the intros are a different matter.
Those are usually we come up with an idea right before. Sometimes Jeff or whoever else is involved may have an idea for a skit before even recording.
Yep.
Sometimes we play the games and then we come up with a skit afterwards.
Yep.
Sometimes it's literally we have no idea and we're just like spitballing what works.
Mm-hmm. In fact, one of the reasons why y'all may have noticed, it's funny because in recent months, I feel like the intros have gotten better when I have so a lot of times I'll play the game on Friday with somebody and then record the intro on like Saturday or Sunday. Like Amanda and I have done a few like that, and Michael and I have done a few like that. And that's why you've gotten, papercraft Hitler or Jeff in a Sonic mask or whatever, is that if I have like a day to think about an intro, as opposed to, because it used to just be that we would do the recording and then immediately record an intro and it'd just be like, come on, rack your brain. What do I got? What do I got? What do I got?
Yeah. I remember back, when I was actually on dojos with intros. But
my friend Pedro.
Just saying, not yeah, that one is a good example. But no, back when I was on them more, there were days where we would do the video, we record the whole thing, and they're like, all right, let's come up with an intro. And literally Jeff and I would be staring blankly at the wall for like 30 minutes and then being like, oh shit, Jeff, it's like 10 p.m. I gotta go home so I can go to work. Can we? What can we do? And like literally just like, what about this? And it's like, okay, I kind of see where you're going with that, but what's the punchline? How do we, or that one takes a little bit too much. It needs to be quicker, snappier. Let's and so. I just remember tons of times where that happened.
Yeah, there have been a few times, a very, very few times where I've had scripts, mostly for the ones that I do by myself, because I don't want to, like, I usually try to come up with like a direction and then we'll kind of just do a few takes and see what happens. But like the Inglorious Bastards Jeff intro, that one I wrote a script for, or like even the Kill a Kill one that we did where I did the little Mako thing. Like I plotted all that out, what I wanted to do, but one of the reasons why I don't put an intro on every single thing is because I like to be able to come up with something better than just like, because I know that there were plenty of times back when you and I were recording more intros where it was just like, I don't know, what about another joke where I make you look at my puppet dick? And it's we did that 5 times. Or like, maybe this time you punch me in the face. Maybe this time I look at your dick. It's always just like.
Or what was it? Westerado. We were like, what do we do? I was like, how about I just start singing Desperado, but replace the word with Westerado at some point? And you're like, yeah, fine, fuck it. It's getting late. Let's do it.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that the intros haven't been on every video is like, one, having time to work on them means that I can do stuff like the Ragefinity Gauntlet, or even the Kill a Kill one that I made, or even the one with Amanda where we came in the door and we had to change. It wasn't just sitting on the couch, one take, boom, you're done, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why Chile didn't like say that this is a problem, but I guess it's just kind of behind the scenes. Is that I feel like the intros that we've been doing have been much better. Like my friend Pedro intro was great, except for the fact that the yellow banana fucked up my green screen, and it took like 2 hours worth of like filter after filter after filter to get around that dumb fucking banana, Pedro. So, yeah, but no, in general with dojos, we don't have. Kayla used to bring an outline for the Sunday stream.
Yeah.
Where she had like, we're going to talk about food for a while. Now we're going to answer the questions.
Yeah, when she used to do that was definitely something I remember doing. Or, hey, this is something I'd specifically like to do during the stream. And sometimes it will be a thing of like, we'll just, we'll be playing a game and it'll get to a point where Jeff's like, just like, hey, here's some things we fall back on, talking about like what's other game are you playing, or what movie did you see recently, or if it's a game based on something, like, oh, have you read the original stuff or whatever. Like, it's sometimes that stuff's a given, but it's typically just off the cuff.
Yep. Which is interesting. So, and that we're gonna wrap it up. Before we wrap it up, if you listen this far to the Rage Select podcast, I bet you're probably a fan of Rage Select. John, we took a pretty sizable Patreon hit last month.
Oh, no.
I'm not entirely sure why. I had some trouble this week getting into my Patreon account, and I keep expecting to see the number go up a little bit, but I feel like, it wasn't like, we're not going to be shutting down tomorrow, but, it takes money to do Rage Select, right? And there was kind of a big chunk. So if you, the listener, have not yet ever been a patron of Rage Select, now's a great time to do it. We got a Discord server. We got, so many full playthroughs. John and I played through every single Souls game, every single one of them.
Yeah.
You can go back and watch any single
It's
one
also
of
a
them.
really good playthrough of Metal Gear Solid in which
Yep.
I had the controller the entire time.
Dead Space 2, Max
Yeah.
Payne 2. Yeah, you and I played quite a few things over the years. So, jump back in. Now is a great time. $5 a month will get you into the Discord.
Dead Space 1.
Dead Space 1.
We never played 2.
Oh, I never went on to 2.
Because
Okay.
you kind of wanted to play that as a non-Patreon video with Salisbury at one point, so you were holding off.
Ah, well, that's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
The guy's got like 3 kids to deal with or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you've never been a patron before, patreon.com/RageSelect, you get all access to all the back content. You get access to 3 bonus videos, the Discord server, all kinds of great stuff. I was going to try to do a lot more Discord streaming, John, but I work every single day of the week, and I have to. There has to be some time when I'm not working each day, or else I'd become a crazy person. Just a crazy person.
Yeah.
So, mail@rageselect.com is the email address. So patreon.com/rageselect. Mail@rageselect.com is the email address. And
Maybe someday Jeff will get that John@rageselect.com email set up.
Yeah. And you guys can
Send
ask
all
John,
your John questions.
ask all your John-related questions.
It's not a real email address. I want to stress that.
yeah.
It's not a real email address, so please do not send emails to it.
Yeah.
But maybe one day.
I'm gonna have it's gonna be like the spin-off. It's the Gaiden podcast of Rage Select, where it's just what questions did John answer in the 15 minutes when I was downstairs smoking? Here you go.